The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Say, folks, here's a double-edged sword for you. Walmart. Now, I understand a lot of you, including myself, hate Walmart, even though I do find myself visiting there every now and again. But come May 30th, you might want to take a trip down there because for less than $20, you can pick yourself up the Steelbook release of Maximum Overdrive. Now, I assume that this release will have the same extras that the Vestron release has, but you know what? Who could resist a decent Steelbook, you know? And for less than $20, it sounds like a steal to me. So pick up Stephen King's one and only directorial effort for less than $20 at Walmart. It's coming May 30th. Pre-orders are up now, so check them out. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 556 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau and Casa de Zero, and from a fourth location, and that is on the opposite side of the coast in the past. I guess maybe we're in the future. I'm not sure how that works, but we are joined once again. It's been a while, but we are joined by Rachel from the Zombie Girls. Welcome back, Rachel.
Thank you. It's so good to be back to the future, I guess.
Or something like that. I mean, you know.
Something like that.
Yeah, you can.
Can I get those winning lotto numbers, please? Please.
MZ, you play the lotto?
Yes, I do.
When you go to Walmart?
Yes, I do. I can give her the numbers right now.
All right.
Okay.
What the fuck was that?
Listen, these are the numbers. These are the numbers.
Okay. All right, I'm going to play them.
1.
Okay. All right.
2.
Ooh.
3.
Wow.
4.
Oh, my God.
Ah!
5.
Ooh, that escalated fast.
That's my luggage combo.
That's all my passwords. Also my social security number.
Shit.
And my mother's maiden name. It's so weird. It's a family name. I don't know.
So I gotta ask, MZ, we had like a nice discussion right before the show started about something that was an anniversary of something, and but you swerved us and talked about Walmart. I thought you were gonna do something else. What the fuck was that all about?
What? Police Academy has celebrated its 39th anniversary today. Hard to believe, but it's not horror. Maximum Overdrive is horror.
Sure, but
Walmart.
Well, Walmart's horror. Okay, fair.
So it beats it out 2-0. Sorry.
What
I sense Big Steelbook is somehow involved with this. I sense a conspiracy.
Yeah, did they pay you? Because that sounded like a pretty good fucking spot right there.
No, I don't get anything for this, man. I'm just being a nice person and promoting Maximum Overdrive.
Try to be a nice person.
I'm on the fence about Maximum Overdrive. I mean, it's a good film, but does it deserve the legacy that it has achieved? Or
does it have a legacy? I mean, it's a good movie, but I don't really know.
Stephen King would say no because he was too hopped up on coke during the time of directing.
Yeah.
I'm with all the stuff that comes with the Blu-ray. I'm surprised a little vial of coke doesn't come along with it. That way we can all experience it the way King did.
Yeah, I have such a soft spot for that movie, though. I mean, like when the ATM calls him an asshole, that's comedy genius. I mean, that is the height of comedy genius. You don't get better than that.
It is. AC/DC on the soundtrack and everything.
When the fucking soda machine fires off fucking cola cans at the kids and the complete gimmick infringement of the Green Goblin
Right.
head thing on the truck. You're like, come on now. We know what you're doing, Stan. I mean, not Stan. Fucking
Stevie boy.
and yeah. Deep checks. We know what you're doing.
Lesser
Right.
King, Stan King.
And King. That's a fucking amalgamation I want. Stephen King does the Marvel Universe.
Stanley King.
Stanley King.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
I'd be into it.
the sausage king of Maine.
Of
I thought that
Bangor.
was MZ.
Yeah. What the hell?
Are you the sausage king of Maine?
I am now.
All those one man sausage parties you host up there.
I'm about what, maybe 50 miles away from him. So,
Yeah, and his restraining order is 45 miles. So thankfully,
Oh, he knows.
yeah,
He
he knows
knows.
you. He knows you.
knows. Knows. Yeah. The Sausage King of Bangor.
look, when I went to go visit his house, you know, it's
You mean creeping?
look, it wasn't just me. There's a whole bunch of people that
It
were there
wasn't
just to
just
take
me.
a picture of the house.
We had a
And-
party.
And, you know, I could just picture like everyone, you know, people are taking pictures of the house, standing in front of the house and everything. And I could just picture King just peeking out through the window, you know, past the curtains just to see if, you know, anybody's like
He's like, is that motherfucker Mozzarella out
ready
there
to
again?
getting ready to jump the fence or whatever.
Oh, here comes the Sausage King again.
According to Rachel, I'm the Sausage King of Maine. So
What?
I accept that honor and I'll take full responsibility with it. I will be so responsible with this title.
So I translate that to so irresponsible. What I don't know if you want to mention the name of the town you're in, but doesn't it begin with an S? Get some
Yes.
get some alliteration going in there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say it, so I'm not gonna try.
Don't bother. Don't even say it.
All right, well, let me check the chat room real quick because we already got some folks hanging out. Marion says, that's really funny, MZ, because I almost made Raven Shadow watch Maximum Overdrive this weekend.
Ah.
Have you never seen it, Raven Shadow?
No, that was actually one of my first horror movies during a sleepover.
Oh, you just haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. No. We talked about it. We actually ended up watching The Legend of Billie Jean,
Nice.
which is great. And then we haven't watched Out of Bounds, the Anthony Michael callback from last week. So that was our plan. But yeah, we watched Legend of Billie Jean.
Nice.
And
Wow. That's so bizarre because Legend of Billie Jean and Maximum Overdrive both have Yeardley Smith, the voice of Lisa Simpson.
Yep. Yeah.
Who knew? Who would have known?
Yep.
It's like you planned it, Raven Shadow.
Now all you had to do was watch 3 O'Clock High, and you would have had the Yeardley Smith trifecta.
God,
Actually-
he was in that. I haven't thought about that movie in so long.
I watched it maybe 2 months ago. Oh, is that
Oh,
still?
It's such a
still
good
holds
movie.
It's actually Mary and I watched that. Maybe Mary, I'm bad with numbers, but before today, previously, and
Before today.
before today. Great Charlie Cosmo, not Charlie Cosmo. He was in shit. He was Charlie from Young Guns, but who was he? Charlie.
Emilio Estevez?
Well, he was Bill the Kid, but he wasn't in 3 O'Clock High. That'd be a different picture. Is it someone Kaizamo?
Casey.
That sounds correct to me.
That's Casey Simasco.
Oh, Casey Simasco played Charlie Beaudry in the Young Guns, who was with Emilio Estevez. And in real life, Charlie Beaudry and Billy the Kid were buried together, not together, but near each other in old Fort Sumner.
Casey Simasco is a really underrated actor.
You
I
know,
always thought so.
you
I always
know
thought
who's
he was-
underrated is Richard Tyson.
Yes.
Buddy Revell.
Yeah, Buddy Revell. Richard Tyson. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he Kindergarten Cop and
Yeah.
3 O'clock High
Yeah.
and
Couple of Red Shoe Diaries, just saying.
he was yeah. Red Shoe
Of course
Diaries.
you would know that.
And he was also in. He had a small bit part in Kingpin.
Kingpin?
Yeah.
Is that a different take on that movie?
Kingpin. Yeah. Listen, baby, take those pins, and I don't want to talk about it on air, but
You really jarred something loose there, Tiger.
Yeah, he was the owner of the strip joint that Randy Quaid was dancing at.
You guys must crush at trivia.
I don't know. We'd probably be terrible, actually. It's just like, because then we have to think about it. It's like this flow that
And
just
Yeah.
kind of works.
and then, let's crush it a little bit more. Casey Simasco was also one of Biff Tannen's thug friends
Oh,
in
yeah.
Back to the Future trilogy.
oh shit, so would Billy Zane too.
Yeah, Zane in the Membrane.
Holy shit, Richard Tyson's been working a lot.
Yeah, down
had
at Subway, he sold me a grinder today. He's doing really well. He asked about you.
No, I'm talking about like he's in like TV series. He's in like a bunch of them.
He's great.
Dude's been working solid.
Good.
Yeah, good for him. By the way, Rachel, do you know what a grinder is? And I'm not
I
talking
feel
about
like
the
you
app.
guys told me in the past because I thought app. I was like sweating, right. But I believe it is a sandwich-like item, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
See,
Go ahead,
look
Ray.
at this cultural
Dagwood.
exchange.
Hoagie, Dagwood, a hero, a sub, whatever you want to call it. Whatever they call it over in your end of the world.
Just like a sando. Go get a sando.
Sando.
Why it's called a grinder though? Is there a reason?
I actually have
mean,
no idea. Does anyone know
I
where
was-
that came from?
Yeah, no.
I always assumed that it had to do with like, the meats and cheeses being sliced, but since, calling it a sliced sandwich doesn't sound good, they use the word grind. So they, grind the meat and grind the cheeses and all that other stuff. At least that's my interpretation of it. Always has been. I don't know how true it
seems
is.
like a hamburger should be called a grinder.
I
And I
think-
also feel like I've smoked weed and I have not. This conversation, I'm getting like secondary high from this conversation.
I'm
So-
just-
I looked it up, and it says the origin of grinder is not well known, though it's said that the name initially came from the tough Italian bread used to make the sandwich, which you would have to grind your teeth through.
so it's the Italians' fault.
Raven Shadow.
Well,
It's
Speak
all
for your
fault.
people.
Yeah.
we invented pizza. We invented aqueducts. We invented fucking.
Yeah, and you invented dental bills too, probably.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna talk about bills later on tonight. I'll tell you that much, Johnny.
We are. Oh man, I'm so excited. Can we talk about taxes after that too?
Oh, man, it's bad up
Jesus.
here.
Let's debate flat tax. That sounds fun.
Let me catch up in the chat room. There's a couple of things in there. Let's see. Marion says, hi, guys, and Rachel. And Creepy Girl says, oh, my God, Rachel looks amazing. So pretty.
Oh, thank you, creepy girl. You're so sweet.
And she also says, and the boys are looking handsome.
Well,
I think by
obviously.
boys, she means Rufus and Ronaldo.
Whoa.
Marion says, I can't see Raven Shadow. He needs to be closer to the camera.
No, he doesn't.
I agree.
Creepy
I
Girl
agree. I mean,
agrees.
Oh, boyski.
And Creepy Girl likes how I pull my glass of water out of the abyss like this. It is. It's like, just like pull it out. There it is. Whoa.
there it is.
Fucking quadrophenia over here. You're like, fuck.
Quadrophenia. And Creepy Girl, oh my God, I love Richard Tyson. My favorite movie he was in was Two Moon Junction, and he was so sexy
Yeah!
in that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Sherilyn Fenn. And
Good
not
call.
for nothing, not for nothing, Zombie Girls did boxing Helena
we did.
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All back.
I haven't seen
Yep.
boxing Helena in years.
An upsetting sexual awakening. Things were awakened.
For all of us.
Mm.
I wonder if there's going to be any awakenings tonight on this on this episode.
I'm wide awake.
All right. Well, before we get too crazy down into the spiral, let me first talk about what we're going to be doing on the show this evening. We're going to be talking about the latest film from Brandon Cronenberg, Baby Crones, and we're going to talk about Infinity Pool. So it should be an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
What was that, Raven Shadow?
I just said, "Oh boy, ski." That's.
Oh, I thought you said I need some whiskey.
You know what? I might start drinking.
Same.
Yeah.
I might start drinking whiskey again after this picture. I'll tell you that.
Does it give you a new definition of owning a dog? All right. Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, I want to catch up with Rachel and find out what's been going on with her and what's going on with the Zombie Girls.
Well, we're in the midst, and I guess we're getting close to the end now of Women in Horror Month. So we've been celebrating that on the Zombie Girls Network. We've been doing like a big social media push, but also I have a new respect for you guys recording every week. I do not know how you got to 500 episodes. We did an episode every week, and I want to die. But it was really, really fun because we had guests on every week. We got to record with some really amazing women like Ivotrice Littles of Horror Movies and Beyond, Kay Lynch, founder of Salem Horror Film Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And we reviewed some great movies. Piggy. We did the original Slumber Party Massacre, which shame on us for taking so long to do it, but that was a really fun conversation. And we also talked to some really cool directors. We have a episode coming out probably early next week with the writer, director, and producer of Spoonful of Sugar, which I don't think you guys have covered yet.
No, we haven't.
It is very erotic, and very, very interesting. So we talked a lot about that. But yeah, so that's like we've been just really caught up in the Women in Horror Month stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Raven Shadow's been listening.
Oh, it's been
You're so sweet.
No, I definitely popped for the discussion about Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2. That was actually happening a film festival in Salem, which is our neck of the woods.
That's Kate. That's who was on the show. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And they were brilliant when they were on. I totally marked out, and like it was one of those. I can only the best compliment I can get is like I want to like jump in and like talk in the show like I'm listening to at work doing like fucking validation, and I'm like I want to talk about that.
Well, we got to get you guys on the show. You got to let us know what movie you want to talk about. You are absolutely welcome. We should like actually get you on the show because we'd love for you to jump in.
Oh.
You don't.
Raven Shadow's like, whoa.
Everybody went quiet. Like, ooh.
No, I'm down. I'm down.
Okay, good.
We want to, but like we don't know if you folks really want us to. But
oh no, we do. You and Ariel need to get in the same room. You haven't had that experience yet, and I'm sure you have some questions. You have some Q's, and she has some A's. So
I such a mark for Ariel. Definitely. And definitely, and I enjoyed this week. Listened to Piggy, and it was a great guest. Newest episode dropped. So and More Deadly is killing it. Love the theme song. I want that tone. It's my jam.
Yeah, that's our friend Elizabeth. She did the theme song for us. She's an amazing musician, and and we actually are starting a little bit of a YouTube channel together. So you'll get to see the beautiful girl behind the dulcet tones soon enough.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So everyone should go check out all the Zombie Girls podcasts. You can check them out on the website at zombiegirls.com, and that's GRRLZ. And you can find links to all the podcasts there, and obviously you can find them wherever you listen to podcasts as well. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chat room. Leanna's hanging out. Leanna says, hello. I'm here after putting in a voicemail on recent updates and a small thing on whether I thought Scream 6 was good or not. They go on to say the secret to having the energy to do an episode every week is Michael Ravenshadow.
Thank you.
Wow, the fan club has a symbol to tonight for the Raven Shadow. Whatever the opposite of a roast is happening for you tonight, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cherish it while you can, buddy. It's not going to last too much longer.
This is actually how we summon Ares. He's gonna feel like a disturbance in the force. I'll be like, uh-oh, Raven Shadow's starting to feel a little too good about himself. Better get in there.
Yeah.
Been knocked the door.
Yeah, you can picture him laying back in his chair like this, getting ready to close his eyes, and all of a sudden it's like,
Why is my tree on fire? What the fuck?
My tree on fire.
hey, I finally went to go see Cocaine Bear.
Oh.
Oh my God. You know what? I don't know what Elizabeth Banks did with Charlie's Angels. I haven't seen it, but after seeing Cocaine Bear, I gotta see Charlie's Angels. What a fun movie that is. It's so ridiculously fun. It's violent. Some of the dialogue is a little groan-inducing, but just overall, it's just a fun flick. It's just a fun popcorn flick. I don't know how much cocaine a single bear can take into its system in one movie, because she doesn't take it's a she, and you'll know why, because of one certain line of dialogue in the film. Have you seen it, Rach?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I saw
okay.
it opening weekend in the theater.
Then you know what I'm talking about.
I sure do.
But the bear doesn't take just one hit of cocaine. I mean, the bear is on cocaine the entire movie and just takes in more and more and more cocaine. So much so that Tony Montana would have a stroke from jealousy. That's how bear. It's ridiculous. And
To be fair, one does not simply take one bump of cocaine.
that's true. That's true. That's very true.
It's true.
And
yeah.
The ambulance chasing scene was fantastic. Just a work of art.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is that Elizabeth Banks, she was really nervous about this. She was afraid that her career is going to be ruined from this movie. I think this movie is going to make her career. Because I just can't explain it. She hit a nerve with everybody, to the point where even when she was presenting an award at the Academy Awards last weekend, the Cocaine Bear was there. Cocaine Bear showed up, and she was smart to use like actual newsreel footage of this happening, because this was a true because in case any of the doubters were like, well, this wasn't a true story. In fact, it was a true story. And there's a lot of news footage of it. But I think Elizabeth Banks did a really, really excellent job with this movie, with the material. And I don't know if it really has anything to do with her getting this job because of how she took to the way people were taking to her Charlie's Angels film. And because she was kind of like blacklisted for a little while, and then she ended up doing a game show that lasted maybe 2 episodes. That was about a year ago or a year and a half ago, and now she's got this movie called Cocaine Bear that just on the premise alone, and the title alone, it sounds like direct to video, because it
Like Asylum. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They probably did Cocaine Badger or something, right?
There's like Meth Alligator.
Of course
Yeah,
there is.
that-
Of course.
There is.
There's meth shark too.
Mm.
Yeah, like how do you figure that? Meth heads don't have any teeth. What good is that going to do? But I digress.
Wow.
But I digress. And it sounds like this should be a direct-to-video flick, and by all rights, it should be. And I'm glad it's not. It relies on very little star power. It has Jesse Tyler Ferguson. It has
Marco Martindale.
Ray Liotta, and the lead actress. Why am I forgetting her name?
Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell, yes. And who were all great in this. They were all fun, and they were all funny to watch, and it's violent, and it's bloody, and it's just a blast. Go see it. Honestly, go see it.
Yeah. I think part of what it's like, the concept is really grabby, and then it actually is really well executed, and it went for the R rating. I think that there's a world where they were like, oh, no, we must sell this to 14-year-olds. It must be PG-13. And then, so much of what you're there for doesn't deliver. Whereas this, you get there and it is quite gruesome and fun and funny. And it's just like pure serotonin, just fun. Yeah. And like, I like really dark, really sick stuff, as we'll get into tonight, but it was nice to go into a theater and just like have a true popcorn experience, like a popcorn munching experience.
Yeah.
And it's something you could take all your friends to, and it's better than it has any right of being.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I love the self-reference in this film, where Banks' very first film was Wet Hot American Summer. And you know how Wet Hot American Summer starts off with Jane from Jefferson Starship. Well, this movie starts with that very same song.
Oh.
And so I thought it was a nice little callback to her, to her earliest career in film. So I thought that was nice. And although I will admit that when that song was playing, I just had the opening credits of Wet Hot American Summer rolling through my brain. So that was a nice little self-referential nugget for fans.
It's also Orange Cassidy's theme song.
Shit.
Yeah.
Which he actually got that character from Wet Hot American Summer, I think.
Yeah.
Right. No, it was the Paul Rudd character is how he based.
That's it.
Part of Orange Cassidy. So Elizabeth Banks did Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah, she was Paul Rudd's love interest, if you want to call it that.
That's a fucking masterpiece. She's great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, did the bear, was he like a key guy, or was he a nail guy, or did he do lines? Like how?
More like deep throating a kilo. It's more her vibe. Yeah.
Because you can tell a lot about a bear how they do their cocaine. Like
I've always said that. Yeah.
Like
stay away from the key bumpers. Like,
a guitar pick.
What a douche. Yeah. They're gonna definitely want to talk to you about like their side project, their side hustle all night long.
But what I'm really trying to do is do my own stuff, my own stories.
Yeah, that Winnie the Pooh, he like stole my idea.
Because I don't wear pants a lot either. I'm depressed too.
MZ, do you think Cocaine Bear would be something fun to do on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it earns a spot on this show somewhere.
All right. I actually have a couple for next week that I was wondering, so we'll take that into consideration. The chat room's going nuts trying to think of other like drug animal movies. Actually, before I get into that, though, I want to say Corny showed up, and he said that his mom's in the hospital, and he's just getting home. So,
Oh, no.
sorry to hear that, Corny. I hope everything's all right.
Yeah, we love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Talk-
Oh, and then a couple responses down later. Well, you know what? Like, it's not my place to say on radio, so I'll let you know. But hopefully everything's going well there, Corny.
Yeah.
Leanna says it's called Cocaine Bear. I think groan-inducing dialogue is expected. And and then they say the Cocaine Bear is a metaphor for the entertainment industry in the 80s.
Yeah, I could see that.
Corny
I could see that.
Corny said he had fun with Cocaine Bear. Elizabeth Banks is becoming a good director. I didn't know she had it in her to make Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
And Leanna says Meth Gator. Yeah. So I think Meth Gator was the one.
Yep.
And then the chat room is going nuts. There's Heroin Hawk, Weed
Heroin.
Walrus.
Weed blonde.
Weed walrus. Are these real or are people
No,
making-
they're making them up.
I want to
Oh,
party
okay.
with the weed walrus.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have great snacks. Oh, he
Yeah.
would-
Corny says I'm waiting on Takashi Miike to make OxyContin octopus.
Ah! Someone
And
get into Chat GPT. We need to see this.
Well, let's make it a little better. Let's make it oxen content.
Oh, look at you.
All right, dad joke of the award goes the day goes to.
Leanna also submits Fentanyl Flamingo.
Oh God.
That's a good one.
Grim. I like it.
Let's see. Creepy Girl and cocaine snorting crabs from outer space.
Okay.
Leanna has another good one. Morphine manta ray.
Ooh, that's what killed. Rest in peace. Fucking. Fuck. Pill
Oh,
popping.
Evil Corny's got a good one here. LSD llama.
I think that's just called Lamageddon. There's a movie called
Llama.
Armageddon. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Oh, creepy girl says cocaine snorting crabs from outer space is a real movie.
Oh.
I thought she was
Okay.
adding
Double
in.
feat. Double feat with Cocaine
All right.
Bear, please.
Yeah.
Treat.
Treat. Yeah, you get rid of treat already.
Auto treat.
Angel dust honey badger.
Hmm.
Honey badgers don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think it's just honey badger. I think like you don't need. It doesn't need a drug. It's just
Oh,
honey
heroin-
badger.
Heroin badger.
There you go.
It's not bad.
There you go. Look at it. Look at Raven Shadow thinking over here. Look at
PCP
you.
porcupine.
What was it?
PCP porcupine.
There you go. I like that. I'd watch that.
We could even go into the like non-illegal drugs. Well, I guess technically it could be illegal, but we could do Ritalin rhinoceros.
Ketamine kangaroo.
That's a good one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Heroin sloth.
Oh, that's the one.
Like kangaroos will fucking fuck you up. They can hold.
Yeah.
They have like a utility belt. They can pull fucking weapons out like Hawkeye and have different like
Like Hawkeye.
arrowheads. You know what I mean? They wear boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Kangaroos.
I feel like a kangaroo could take Hawkeye in a fight, personally.
I would disagree because Hawkeye
I would not mess with a kangaroo.
Yeah.
not gymnast.
They don't fuck around. They do not
Mm.
fuck around.
Yeah. The IMSI gets it.
Morphine moose.
Or Downer Dingo.
Well, that now it sounds like the get along game. I was making shit up like Montgomery Moose, like it's Morphine Moose, you know, or it's like
Yeah. We'll keep it there. It's gonna start. We're gonna get diminishing returns going here soon.
Quaalude capybara? I don't know. I'm running out.
That one works because it's so ridiculous. Oh man. So let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other chat going on in the chat room. We did get another. Oh, okay, cool. We got a voice message from Leanna. She did mention that. Or I'm sorry, I messed up again. They mentioned that. Cool. So that's what's going on over here with all this ridiculousness. I'm excited to talk about this movie because I literally have no idea what anyone is going to say about this. This is a tough one to predict.
So many notes. So many notes.
I truly have a little bit of insight into MZ's experience with this, but it's more about the experience than the watching the movie. But Raven Shadow, I literally have no clue. He could have this could topple Casablanca on the top, or it could topple off into a fucking volcano. And
it remains to be seen, because it's funny to be a counter to Rachel's point. Like, the folks who've been listening, I've been keeping my movie journal.
You've been doing it?
Yeah. So
Proud
I'm
of
still up to date, and I'm making my notes, my directives where I wash it, like upstairs or downstairs or in the room or whatever the fuck. But like, I could not even put pen to paper watching this picture. Like, I don't even fucking know. I sit down and I'm like, I just gotta absorb it, and maybe I'll remember it. But
maybe I'll remember it.
Because I just couldn't stop watching this motherfucker, for better or for worse. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wind this down, because I wanted to start talking about it. So, if you guys want to help support the show, there's a few ways you can do so, and you can go to patreon.trickortreatradio.com, and you can support us on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. And get all the episodes, the Patreon exclusive episodes. We just released a new one about a week and a half ago. So go ahead and give that a look. And then you can also get your own Patreon takeover if you wanted, kind of like how Carlitos did last week. And give it a look. Patreon.trickortreatradio.com. In addition, the other ways you can help support are right on trickortreatradio.com. Just scroll down on the main page and look for the Amazon logo. You're going to click on that. It's going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link, and everything they purchase in that session will get attributed to us, Raven Shadow. It's not going to cost them any extra.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. So you guys can help keep the lights on that way. And the final way is also on trickortreatradio.com. You can just click on store, and then we got the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio volumes 1 through 3 there. A little sampler of the first several years of Trick or Treat Radio, so you guys can give that a look. All right, Raven Shadow. So, I'm dying to know, you sit down to watch Infinity Pool. What do you do to prepare for this one? Like, how did you prepare? I gotta know.
I had 4 fucking MRIs, John. It's true.
Oh, that's true?
It's true. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Like, I had like.
Did you lie to your doctor to get one, to get them?
No, I didn't want to do it, but no, I had the mystery that's my eyes.
The mystery that is my eyes.
Yeah. So I had MRI on my fucking like brain, my head, my neck. It fucking sucked.
Oh,
do you see any ghosts now? Because sometimes people experience, where they can see ghosts after having an MRI.
I hope
That's
so.
just science, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, for the $100 copay,
you better get something with that, huh?
You better get some bonus.
Yeah.
You
Better get
a
some
gift with
fucking
purchase.
ghosts.
yeah, like it was like my pre-interview with the waitress at the place. They're like, not with it, the representative. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're like, oh yeah, so your insurance would be $100 copay. I'm like, oh. It's a lot. I'm like, well, do you have free parking? Like, oh, free parking. I'm like, oh, that'll help with the copay.
Free bar-
And they laughed, but I'm like, well, that made me smile. But yeah, $100 copay. But no, they did all that stuff. And it's where they put you in a weird. If you ever had an MRI, I recommend not to. But I had like a weird like Dr. David Banner head thing from like the Incredible Hulk intro. They put you in, and they like, you know, in my head I'm like, no, like that scary intro. And they're like, oh, do you want some music? And I'm like, yeah, something soothing. Like, yeah, put some Anthrax on while I stay fucking still for fucking 2 hours.
Raven Shadow, at least you could have asked for them to play this for you or something. You know?
I hope it is what I think it is.
You could ask for a little bit of, you know, Hulk, sad music.
Oh, wait
I thought we
for
were
it.
gonna put on Clowny Clown Clown.
Oh, whoops, there it goes. All right, well, I feel like that's a moment in time in our show that, I don't know, I just wanted to bring that back. You're talking about the Hulk, and I was thinking about that fucking song.
Yeah, I was like, do you have any Crispin Glover? I'm really into this stuff. It really calms
Did you
me
play
down.
Auto Manipulator or maybe Clowny Clown Clown?
Yes, Funny Clown Clown.
When I'm sitting in a fucking torpedo tube for 2 hours, can you play some Clowny Clown Clown on repeat, please? I'll sit down.
Or his cover of These Boots Are Made for Walking.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm fucking Christopher Walker in a fucking Winter Wonderland. Get me the fuck out of here. And you better believe before I see that final fucking pre-fucking high deductible fucking copay, better believe. Strapped on.
Advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. And we're going to talk about our movie for the week. And the movie we're going to be discussing is Infinity Pool. Let me go ahead and pull up all the IMDb info here. All right. Infinity Pool. It got a theatrical and VOD release this year, 2023. It's rated R. Well, unless you saw the unrated version, which I think Rachel did.
I did.
And the film is 117 minutes. If, from what I could tell, it looked like the uncut version is only an extra minute. It's 118 minutes.
And 7 inches.
I have a feeling I know what that extra minute is.
Sorry.
We may have a contender for the episode title. Oh, shit. All right. And it is a crime horror mystery, I think, I suppose. That's what IMDb says. It is written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. And it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, Cleopatra Coleman, Adam Bonch, Jaleel Lesbier, and let's see if there's anyone. We'll cap it there. The synopsis: James and M. Foster are enjoying an all-inclusive beach vacation in the fictional island of La Tolca when a fatal accident exposes the resort's perverse subculture of hedonistic tourism, reckless violence, and surreal horrors.
Mm-hmm.
Too
Too early to say movie of the year.
Oh, man. All right. So previously we did Brandon Cronenberg's film Possessor. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it. Yeah, it was his first feature. So this is his second feature. Oh, he did
third. He did another film which I
Antiviral.
highly recommend. He called Antiviral.
I haven't seen
yes.
it yet. I haven't seen that yet. I want to.
That's right.
So good.
I'd forgotten about that because it was like 8 years prior to Possessor.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Antiviral and Possessor are his two previous works. I'm just looking. Oh, in Antiviral, I actually haven't seen it, but it does have Malcolm McDowell in it, Raven Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Caleb Landry Jones, who would I recognize him from?
Get Out,
Get
probably.
Out. That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was in
He was
something
also
else.
in. Yeah, he was in The Last Exorcism.
Okay, he was also in The Dead Don't Die, which we did on the show. And I think that might have... He was in the Twin Peaks kind of revival series. But
Makes sense.
but yeah, so this is the third film from Brandon Cronenberg. And, of course, he is the son of the great 80-year-old now, David Cronenberg.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
And
baby
he's-
Cronenberg.
And he's still going. David's still going. And... Yeah, so this one got a lot of hype, festival hype. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were just mentioning you saw this in the festival run. How was the? I'm curious. Before we dive into our thoughts, how was the reception at the festival that you were at?
So I screened it virtually. Unfortunately, I did not get to see this with a crowd, which
That would have been interesting. Yeah.
Sad. Because there are moments in this film that I would love to just like lean over and make eye contact with strangers and see how they're feeling and experiencing it. I mean, you said only a minute got cut, but when I tell you that minute had some oomph to it, like it is a memorable minute that was cut. And it's kind of a shame because when I watched the theatrical, some of like my favorite visual moments, especially in the orgy, got cut. because it's like super so realistic. You get a little like a whisper of it with that nipple, but there's like a whole like kaleidoscopic genitalia situation that you are not privy to yet. But
kaleidoscopic genitalia.
Yeah.
Yes. Right? We should all look forward to kaleidoscopic genitalia.
You have not lived until you have experienced the visuals of like a genital turducken.
What are you doing, Raven Shadow? Stood up and he's gone. Oh, you doing kaleidoscope? Okay, I thought you were doing something else.
I mean, column A, column B.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I'm reading Alexander Skarsgård was talking about what was caught, and he says there are a couple frames in the orgy scene, and then the psychedelic ... like when they're doing the icky drug, that has been trimmed down. But again, it's a few frames here and there. Brandon Cronenberg said, I like being put in a position where you are destabilized when you're watching a film. I think that kind of art is more transformative, taking you to places that might be difficult, but also that allow you to engage with aspects of your brain that you might not in a day-to-day way.
Mm-hmm. I think that's true. I think that's part of what I like about it is like I mean, the stuff that was cut was like pretty graphic, but it never felt like grimy. It felt or gratuitous. It felt very much like a visual punch, which I really like.
And
I guess we know my kink.
Kaleidoscopic genitalia.
Yeah, turduck.
I would say that this didn't feel gratuitous to me. It, yes, there's a lot of imagery there. Even in the cut version, apparently, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like when we saw, we did Full Metal Yakuza last week, and there was some really uncomfortable stuff in that all of a sudden just, it was from 1997. It's a different time, but still, like, that made me uncomfortable. Nothing in this made me uncomfortable. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, yep, we're going there. Yep. That makes sense.
Or maybe you're just like dead inside post Yakuza. That could be.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Brandon Cronenberg's third film, and there's something in the water at the Cronenberg household, right? Like,
There's a third Cronenberg that's making her first film this year, so I cannot wait to. It's supposedly a rom-com. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I wonder.
Some weird, like, perverse, like, Tuck Everlasting in their yard where they just spews like arsenic and chaos. And they
Yeah, I'm gonna look up. I want to see what the name of that movie is from. I can't remember his sister's name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it Caitlin or Cassandra? It's one of the two. I think it's Caitlin.
Sure.
Caitlin Cronenberg.
Caitlin Cronenberg.
Good lady Cronenberg.
Yeah. So her upcoming film is Humane. And this is a thriller.
Even the title is so far detached from
what's a thriller? Okay.
The rest of the family's films.
It's a thriller. Actually, I love the cast already. I see Jay Baruchel and Emily Hampshire.
Emily Hampshire.
Yeah, she
love her.
Stevie Budd from Schitt's Creek. And let's see who else is in this. Just those two alone make me super excited about it. So, but yeah, that's Caitlin Cronenberg, and then now let's take a look and see the other Carolyn Cronenberg. And never mind. I'm sorry. Carolyn has passed away. She I think that might have been the mom. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, I was looking at So Carolyn is the mother. I clicked on the wrong link. Cassandra is what I meant to click on. And let's see, for Cassandra. I don't know. She just has one short film from 2013. So maybe it is the thriller. Maybe it's a rom-com thriller from Caitlin.
I may have my information incorrect. Ooh, kitty.
So yeah.
Don't make me talk about this movie in front of the cat.
I know. So yeah, there's definitely something. It's I mean, it's interesting. I guess if you're the son or a daughter of David Cronenberg, there's you have to view the world in a different way, right? Like
right.
We've all seen the way that he views the world through his films, and it is definitely a different take on humanity and its ties to technology and body horror. And so far, at least the two films I've seen from Brandon have been right in that same vein. Like, if someone told me it was a David Cronenberg film, I would believe them,
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely has its own vibe too. I'm not saying he's just aping off of his dad. It's he has his own vibe and his own feel. And I really liked Possessor. And I know MZ, I think you had said previously that it was like your number 5 on the best of that year.
It was number 5 or number 6.
Okay. Yep.
Of that year. Yeah.
So
a very good movie. I loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool movie, very different. And this one, I think the thing I'll say before we start diving a little bit deeper into it is I think the narrative of his films are a little bit pretty straightforward, like pretty easy to understand. Whereas sometimes in Papa Cronenberg's work, I get a little bit like, whoa, what's going on here? I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Like, what's going on? But I feel like there is a much more streamlined narrative, at least initially, in his films, especially in this one, because the first half of this film I feel is pretty straightforward. It's you can kind of grasp onto what's going on pretty easily, and then that's when it starts to get a little bit more bizarre, a little bit more off kilter. So what I know you had sort of talked about your experience of seeing this, with the festival. It was a screener, but after seeing it, like, did you have like any like thoughts of like, like, what did I just see? Like, did you have any initial like thoughts that came to mind that you can recall?
I mean, I'm a huge Brandon Cronenberg fan. So like I went into this with like a lot of anticipation and also anxiety that it wouldn't live up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like my first thought was like, oh, Brandon, you did it again, buddy. You did it again. You were talking about like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what is happening outside my house. I'm sure you're hearing that horn.
Oh, it's faint. We can barely hear
okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
Sorry. But like what I think is interesting about him, to your point about like the differences between him and his father, he doesn't quite go as surreal, but I've seen his stuff described not as body horror, but as soul horror. And I think that that's very true because like it's so much about like the corruption of like the fragility of the ego.
Yeah.
And when I came away from this, the thing that because I love his earlier films so much, I was kind of contextualizing him through that lens and like the way that he sees particular people of privilege. And I think this is probably his like most biting commentary about it. But like what I got from it was like he has such a deep and profound disdain for the elite. And, I think about what his background is, that he is someone who has quite a bit of privilege and has a lot of access to seeing other people with a lot of privilege. He's behind a lot of walls that we'll never get behind. And he really kind of sees these people, at least as described in his films, as kind of sociopathic children with just like this constant need to consume. And so like I was kind of just struck by how intense his social commentary is in this one, because I think this is probably the strongest social commentary that he's had. But yeah, I loved it. I was completely in love with it from the opening frame to the end. And I've watched it 3 times now.
Nice.
And every time I get more and more of what I think he's trying to say. The first time was like just dazzle camouflage because it's just there's just so much coming at you. But I'm sure we'll get into the social critique quite a bit because there's a lot of it here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, there is, and there's we try to toe the line without giving away too much about the movie, and I feel like we can with this because I feel like you just have to see it to experience it. And in the synopsis they talk about this resort's perverse subculture of hedonistic tourism, reckless violence, and surreal horror. Like that to me kind of sums it up fairly well. And I think with the name Infinity Pool, like I think I think you can ascertain the reference. Like you can understand the point of the film just by the name alone if you understand like some references. Like, so I feel like if we talk about it a little bit in depth, it's not going to be super spoilery. We won't talk about the fate of some characters or what happens to some others, but I think that there's enough that we can jump into. Yeah, Raven Shadow.
I think based on what Wolfie just said, we're gonna try our best, but like I highly recommend if you do want to watch this picture, press pause, watch the picture, and then come hang out with us afterwards. Is my recommendation, because I went into this completely blind, and aside from my recent MRI, but like for real, like I had no idea. I don't know why I thought Margot Robbie was in this for some reason, but all I knew was this was very hedonistic, like that fucking shitty fucking part in the Matrix 2 when they went to Zion and they all fucked.
Oh God.
Which I'm like, okay, so I'm like, and that oddly enough turned me off to the Matrix. That's weird for me. But like I thought it was just gonna be sleaze, but there's more than that. So if you do want to watch this picture, come back and hang out with us, but stop now. That's all I'm gonna
stop.
This has been a spoiler warning by Michael Ravenshadow.
I would caveat that Neon, you can rent it from Neon for like $7 and see the uncut version. And I know it's just a minute, but it's an interesting minute.
It's
I mean, Baby Cronenberg here is he's into the body horror just like Pops is, but he's taken it in a different manner. David, his idea of body horror is straightforward. It's right there. It's exactly what it is. Body horror. You see it. It's there. With the little Cronenberg, he has his own body horror, but it's a different style of body horror. So he's taken in a different path, a different direction, which I like. As far as the title goes, Infinity Pool, when I first heard the title, I'm like, oh God, the last movie that I know of that had the word infinity in it was what, Avengers Infinity? Is that true? Yeah. And I kept
where's Thanos?
I kept on thinking this was a superhero movie, and I'm like, please God, no. And I see, it's got, all right, Mia Goth in it, who is incredible in X, and also in, I'm going to assume in Pearl. I still haven't seen that yet.
Oh.
Shame on me.
Good.
Shame
It's so
on me.
good.
Shame on me. But this discussion is going to get pretty interesting. I have a decent feeling. I feel deep-rooted feeling about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, some deep-rooted
Everybody's kind of brought up the title, and I'm curious, and they're like, oh, we all know what that means, but I'm curious what your interpretation is, because I have like I bounce between three ideas of the meaning of it. So I'm curious what you guys think.
Well, I felt that it was, as the movie is progressing, that it's it's a trapdoor above a trapdoor above a trapdoor, and it just keeps going and going and going, because the insanity simply just doesn't stop. And so that's the infinity section of it. The pool part, I don't know. I guess that's also subjective, but what it ultimately means, I'm really not too sure. But as far as the infinity part of it goes, I have a feeling it's like a trapdoor above a trapdoor above a trapdoor, because it just keeps on coming.
Yeah, and for me, like, I guess with the reference I was making earlier, like, is it Raven Channel? And I was second guessing myself. Is it the Lazarus Pool or the Lazarus Pit?
In one comics, it's the Lazarus Pit.
Okay, so I actually messed it up. Anyways, I was thinking of, like, Ra's al Ghul, and the Lazarus Pit, and sort of having immortality in a sense is. But I actually like it. I think MZ's definition is actually pretty good about the infinite part, the infinity, and it's. I mean, you could take it a couple different ways. It could be something that is infinite, or a great amount of something. Like you can definitely use that word in sort of like multiple ways. I feel like.
Right, because you go with like infinite second chances. Infinite second or third chances. I think
is that what you've had? Infinite second chances.
To be fair.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Right. Like to talking about the elite, talking about that percentage of the people in the resort when the resort walls close, like. And one thing watching this with Marion, like, she was really pissed off by the scenery. She's like, this place doesn't fucking look good. Like, where are they? And it reminded me of like fucking Madripoor, that fake country in Wolverine comics, but was also done in Falcon Winter Soldier, like that like shitty country where like, but if you're in the resort side, you're okay. And I love the fact that it like snuck in futuristic technology, almost like, and by no means is this a like-to-like comparison to Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but Eternal Sunshine, but like the way they like, oh, in this world, this technology exists.
Right. It's just like very matter of fact.
Yeah, well, oh, you could do this. This is an option in this world. Where that was a huge subversion for me. We're like, oh, now it's getting a little bit different. Where it's more than just, supplying, pesos or dollars to get yourself across the border. You know what I mean? Like, anyone listen to the Talk is Jericho, how many times he's had to get across borders and fake a name or give people money. This interesting development of what technology is in this country was this is something different.
Yeah, and also on top of that, like the literal meaning of an infinity pool is very apt as well. And typically, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I haven't seen many of them, but I think they're typically in luxurious, like places, like a luxurious or a high-end sort of hotel or something like that. And it's for those who maybe don't know what an infinity pool is, it's like a reflecting pool where the water just flows over like the edge. And it looks like it's just like there's no boundaries. It's just flowing over an edge.
There
you go. Yeah. I guess that's the key point, right?
That was my interpretation, was the illusion of endless, like boundaryless pleasure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting, like, just because you can look at it in so many different ways. I mean, maybe the most literal one is the most apt, but you can also look at it in multiple ways, and I feel like it's such a brilliant name for the movie, you know, and just that alone is like, wow, like, yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all of those things are probably true. I feel like there's multiple meanings to it because there's also the literal pool of that he gets into that is essentially an infinity
that
pool.
Too,
'Cause,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It is, you know, what is the word I'm looking for? Like you
Endless
can't die.
possibilities,
Like immortality.
yeah. Immortality.
It's like in
yeah.
an immortality pool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you guys know anything about the backstory for how he came up with the idea for this? Because I think it's germane to the conversation. If you haven't, I don't know if you came across this in your research, Johnny.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So this is partially based on a true story. Like I said, he kind of, you know, he is someone who has a lot of privilege and has had a lot of privileged experiences, including this one really grim, bleak vacation he took to the Dominican Republic when he was younger. He describes it as like basically they cart you in late at night and you get down to this resort. And it's like an all-inclusive resort. The Chinese restaurant that is in this film is based on that, like a lot of like weird cultural appropriation, and like he said it's kind of like almost Disneyland-esque in that it's like this false version, and you are required to stay inside the walls. And if you look carefully behind the palm trees, there's razor wire. Unclear if it's meant to keep people in or out. But at the end of the vacation, they like in the movie, they put him on a bus and sent him back. But it was during the day, and he was able to see the abject poverty that surrounded this resort. And like it really struck him and stayed with him for all of these years. So when he came up with this idea for the clones and like the execution of clones, he realized he needed to kind of put it in this experience that he had, and talk sort of about like the social structures of the elite and how that disincentivizes and incentivizes corruption of the human spirit.
That's super interesting. And just hearing that, I can totally see how that would have an impact on somebody. And yeah, just this like beautiful resort. And then as you're getting like leaving, it's like, oh, and here's a reminder that this is just, you know, surrounded by poverty, you know?
And it was like so deeply uncanny, that experience of like, everything I just experienced was like an uncanny version of the culture here. Which is perfect for Brandon Cronenberg.
So weird how things like this just happen to fall into his lap, and he's able to create a totally fucked up story over it, you know?
Yeah.
But if that's the case, though, I mean, I'm sure like truth is stranger than fiction, right? Like, so he made it a little bit wild, but what's the real story? And by no means is this the same fucking sport. But even down when like the Baru and I went down to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, you know, post 9/11, but pre-Katrina, we stayed down there for like 3 days. The poverty that was down there before shit went down, and then to what the party area was, you had to stay on certain streets, and that's, once again, that's a whole different animal. But like, still, when you're like, oh, we're partying, we're having fun, but you take the wrong tour down the street, it's a different fucking scene, you know, and that was an early 2000s point of view in my 20s, you know.
Yeah. And having that context definitely helps to understand a little bit more about, kind of like you said, like the executions, you know, like it gives you a little bit more context as to how much, I don't know about gratifying, but like how there's some bit of gratification in being able to play that role for the people who are doing the executions potentially. But yeah, it's I mean, you know, we're talking around a lot of the themes and stuff, but I mean, as far as the plot, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, we have James and M are on this resort, and I think their vacation is winding down, if I'm not mistaken. They're just getting ready to leave, and she wants to go have Chinese food, and he's an author, and author, yeah, finger quotes, I guess. Kind of plays with you there a little bit too. But somebody recognizes him and loves his book, and so now all of a sudden he is sort of like feeling like a rock star, and that character's played by Mia Goth, and then Mia Goth and her husband, Albin, they end up sort of like, going out with him, and then they go to the Chinese place that was mentioned. And from there, that's when things start to get a little bit crazier. And we have James, who's played by Alexander Skarsgård. He's driving their car, and in driving home, he hits somebody on the road. Like, they're not even supposed to be out. I don't think, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're not supposed to be even driving out of the resort.
Well, right. Well, one thing is important, Johnny. They rent a car from a local, and they leave the giant, like, Jurassic Park like doors to go party, and they get tuned up. Everyone's fucked up, but True Blood can
James.
drive.
True Blood.
Hey, I can drive. And then shit happens.
Yeah, so he hits a local, kills him, and he's taken to prison, I think. And while there, he's faced with this really interesting dilemma. The dilemma basically is, you can die, or we can essentially clone you, and then your clone dies, and you get to live, and you pay us an exorbitant amount of money to stay alive. So kind of a racket, but, and he has, and he literally,
it's a much more literal system of justice than we have here, but it's pretty much the same thing.
He literally has no choice really in this matter. It's gone over so quickly that he just has to sign his name. That's like really the only option he has. And so he goes through with it, and then he gets put in this really weird room with like a blood-like red, soupy sort of thick liquid.
Viscous, like really disgusting stuff, really.
And this is all fair, like it's in the first half of the movie, and I like Creepy Girl just said spoilers. We already kind of warned that we're going to be veering into slight spoiler territory. We're not going to give away certain things, but we can't talk about this movie if we don't discuss some of the events and some of the themes. Creepy Girl says she's giving away the whole story. We're not giving away the whole story. We're giving context.
Really, we're really not.
Yeah.
Like what happens after this? Like this is all first act stuff.
Right.
I want to talk about the dog, but I'm guessing we're not going to be able to.
No. I think we have to.
Okay.
We already kind of mentioned it.
Yeah.
So
Creepy Girl, don't worry about this. There's going to be plenty for you to chew on. Trust me.
Kat's hanging out. What's up, Kat? Kat says, like carrot soup.
That sounds good.
Leanna says, spoilers. Mia Goth yells, unhinged.
She sure does. That scene. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So at this point, now we have James and Em are sitting in the back row of, like a little sort of like, I wouldn't even call it an auditorium. It's like a very it's almost like bleachers, in the back of a room, and they get to witness the execution of his.
They have to witness.
They have to. You're right. Yeah, they have to witness. That's part of the. Yep.
So it's like, on one hand, like, how is that different from doing a payoff to having someone substitute their role? Like, it's kind of the same thing, but you have to watch your double suffering for your crimes, which
Right.
it kind of reminded me of that picture with like Who's Swingers?
Who's Swingers? Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn, thank you. Vince Vaughn and Hayes picture where they were partying with Joaquin Phoenix. They're partying in like
something
Return to Paradise.
What's it?
I think it was called Return to Paradise.
Okay.
They were doing a bunch of hash. Two dudes leave.
Yeah, that's it. You're right. Yep.
And then one guy gets a bunch of like fucking hash, and they're like, okay, you got to come back, or serve a certain sentence, or one guy dies. So what's your deal? Do you want to die yourself, or do you want to have a clone that is not guilty pay for your sins?
Right, and you have to watch.
Right, you have to watch this life form die for you.
And it has...
I think it's telling that they don't even wrestle with, like, he doesn't even wrestle with the ethics of that at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like, as you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, that actually is kind of meaningful. He has no interest engaging on that level whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could tell, I mean, his wife M is very disturbed by all this, and she even comments after, like, you didn't even, I can't remember what she said. You didn't even like blink or
like a robot.
Yeah. It was just like nothing. But it affected her greatly, and she was like, "We're getting the fuck out of here." And he couldn't find his passport, so he ain't going anywhere. So he's stuck there. They end up staying, and then madness ensues from there, I guess. But it's a very interesting sort of style of justice. We kind of talked about that, where they committed a crime and they don't necessarily have to pay for their sins aside from watching an innocent version of yourself get killed for the crimes. So that's
almost, sorry. I'm
go.
but like, it's like it almost like ups the ante of the paying off your elitism or elite type thing to pay off, but the victims need a body.
Right. Yep.
They need someone to die. So it's like, as a government or a political entity, we don't give a fuck, but we gotta satiate the people. So either it's you or your doppelganger, but either way, we're getting paid, son. So they don't fucked up with the victims, and they don't really probably give a fuck about the criminals. They just want their pockets lined, and they want to make the locals go away.
I mean, you can see that in how matter of fact the police officer is when he's like, "You're not going to die. It's fine. Just like, you just got to sign here, and also, can you lie about this thing?" And like, it's almost bureaucratic.
Yeah.
In the way that it's delivered. Yeah.
And I guess in a way, in terms of like a business, it's probably a super smart business decision for this resort, because these people are going to come back, right? They can basically do anything they want and get away with it. And then, all they have to do is pay like a tiny penance, right? Like, it doesn't really even matter to them.
Yeah. It's a drop in the bucket for them. I mean, elitists really don't give too much of a damn about people that are under them in a socioeconomic fashion. So,
Yeah, the interesting...
They just be bought and sold and then run over by a car, and then, just pay off whatever you need to pay off. And then, boom, you're done, and you can do it year after year after year.
It's something that's very rampant in our society here, like in this country. Because just look at, if you look at the news of what's going on right now, like, the person who occupied the White House previously is potentially going to be indicted, and
I'll believe it when I see it go clean.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, because we know that it doesn't really matter. Like, he even said, when he was like running for president, I could shoot somebody on, on whatever 42nd Street, and it wouldn't matter. Nothing would happen. Nothing would change. And it's absolutely right. And even we can go even further, and maybe like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Like if we want to go into that territory, and
apropos, yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
you think nobody knew what was going on? Of course, everybody knew.
Yeah.
All those people in those inner circles absolutely knew, and everybody was like, hush, hush, consequence free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Cronenberg used this as part of a stepping stone to getting this movie, at least getting the story straightened out, at least getting the story finished. Because like you said before, Rachel, that he's all about the anti-elitists, and there's no one more elite than the moron that was in the White House last time. So, just the very idea that like you said, Wolfie, he could go out and shoot people and still get votes. That's about as elitist as you can get.
And right now, like, other Republicans are actually hoping he gets arrested because they feel it's going to help him get reelected, which that's fucking insane. It's just so broken. It's so broken.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, is like we can point to him because he's the idiot that said it out loud. But I think Cronenberg is getting at all the stuff he sees with the people who don't say it out loud. They just say it behind closed doors.
Right.
And he's like, he feels to me less like a social commentator than a whistleblower. And that's why I think I love his work so much. Like his first film, when you do go back to Antiviral, takes a similar take, but it's about fandom and like the need for fans to consume. So, I mean, I think he just has a very interesting worldview that that makes him uniquely positioned to talk about these things in ways that I find deeply fascinating. And like, there's an insider quality to him that I really appreciate.
Yeah. And it is, I hadn't really thought too much about it from that perspective, but about him being a whistleblower, but I actually really like that. It's probably very accurate of, he sees all this, but he doesn't approve of it, and he doesn't really want to partake in this, So what better way to highlight it than, to create art that, like talks about it, has a conversation about it. Yeah.
Works some stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, we think it's repulsive, but also entertaining in this context. Like, that may be like the stuff that he has to like process in real life. And that would be pretty gross.
Yeah.
Pretty gross.
No shit. So we see the clone, and the funny thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, but this is so matter-of-factly, the cloning technology, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, it's just a thing, and it's just a given that this is completely plausible in this world, and you don't question it, because it's like, well, of course, the way it's presented is like, this is what happens in this world. And there's no real, I just like the way it's presented. It's not this this heady sort of huge sci-fi thing that that is difficult to explain, and you have to give ton of context to, because it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is there is a clone version of this character, and that's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
Well, it's that
go ahead.
It's that near future stuff. It's that Ludovico treatment. It's the it's the, you can erase the memories of your past heartbreak. It's just enough where it's just enough sci-fi that it makes sense in this world. And if you got money, you can probably
you can buy anything.
you can
Yeah, that's what I loved. I love that they didn't get into the scientific aspect of how they clone these people. And it doesn't matter, like you said, Wolfie. I was going to bring it up, but you beat me to it. Is that it just completely doesn't matter, and it's like I lost my thought.
I can see it. It's dripping down your leg.
Again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the science or the technology is.
Right.
If they created it themselves or they got it from someone else, none of it matters.
Yeah. It
But,
didn't have to be explained. Yeah.
No. This is a self-contained world. It really is a self-contained world. It's got its own justice. It's got its own. It's really got its own everything. It's its own little world, and a beautiful world it is too, I might add. I mean, just visually, because when you look at it, the way it's shot, I mean, there's some really nice locations that they shot this in, man. But the science doesn't matter. It just didn't matter.
That's a lot of people in the world think that.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which I guess when you think about it is another area that Cronenberg is addressing here, that that science doesn't matter when it should, but in this case it doesn't. I mean, it'd be
well,
cool to find.
I don't think he's making a statement that science doesn't matter. It's just in the context of the movie, you don't need to know how this functions. Yeah.
And that's one thing that even Marion said, like, why would they go to this place? And I'm like, okay, well, maybe if you're rich and elite, the idea of you could really do whatever you want, you have a get out of jail free card, but as long as you have a high credit limit, you can get out of jail free and collect $200. And I think as the movie progressed, and that as True Blood is embracing.
Come on.
What's his character's
James.
James.
How fucking difficult is
His
that?
name is Eric Northman.
Yeah. Call him the fucking Northman. Something more recent.
There's a lot of Skarsgård. I'm like, which one is this one? I know he's not the one.
Alexander. Call him Alex.
All right.
He's Big Skarsgård. There's Big Skarsgård, Little Skarsgård, and Middle Skarsgård.
Wait, we didn't see that minute. Is he Big Skarsgård?
He's not Small Skarsgård.
That's why he's like, yo, bro, put that back. I want the fucking.
Yeah, put that minute back.
Yeah.
If you film it, might as well have everyone see it,
Yeah.
Bring back those fucking 2 more inches in the picture.
Kat also adds, it's got its own weather system too. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how big it is, huh? We're talking about the. Okay. Never mind.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, cloudy with a chance of, ejaculation.
It's not a dick. It's a peninsula.
Cloudy with a chance of meaty balls.
We're sorry about that.
Are you kidding? I'm like the worst offender.
All right, so this is a question that's actually posed a little bit later in the movie. Do you guys what are your thoughts about which is the original? Do you think any of these people that were killed were the originals? Do you think they know? Do you think they care?
I think when he says, like, I sure hope so, I think they're getting at two things here. And one of them is they're so self-involved and they're so like, I'm here, so it doesn't really matter. But I also think it speaks to the fact that it doesn't matter which clone died, because whatever in the process of that execution, like something in both versions died. There's a part of him that has died regardless. And that's why I think they kind of bring it up and then just sort of hand wave it away, because like the science part of it, it doesn't ultimately matter if it's the clone or not, because that person is no longer fully human anymore anyway.
True. And I think that's an interesting distinction is once you see that, I mean, I think you kind of lose your humanity, right? Like something changes or should change inside of you. And that's why, I feel like we get that, the interaction between M and James, and M's like horrified, and it wasn't even her, but James is kind of like, totally robotic. It didn't really matter. You know, he didn't care.
I mean, if anything, he liked it. Like
Yeah,
it
maybe.
unlocked something. Like if
Yeah.
you go back and watch his face when he's watching it, like she's turned away and crying, and he is like on the verge of a smile.
Yeah.
Like there's something actually unlocked. Like we talked about, like I hope nothing is awoken by this movie. Like he is awoken in that moment in a way. I think he runs home and makes sure that he can't leave. So
yeah, true.
But at the same time, it's also a reversal of characterizations here, because I mean, here we are, we're talking about the elite, and they're getting away with doing whatever they want, pay off people, this, that, and everything else. But yet, when you're talking about M and James, it's a complete reversal of that. Because M is the one with the money, while James
right, yeah.
Yep, he's totally disempowered. Yeah.
Yeah. He's you don't want to say he's a pauper. He's definitely not a pauper, but because he's living off his wife's money. His wife is the one who has all the money, but yet she's the one who's horrified by the things that people in her economic stature. She's she ain't digging it, man. Meanwhile, husband, who's on the other opposite end of that spectrum, is starting to dig it.
Yeah, I think that speaks to ego and like a desire for a power, whereas he feels deeply disempowered and has like a very fragile ego. She's constantly talking down to him, making jokes at his expense. You can tell that dynamic. There is some degree of disdain in that dynamic, and he is able to kind of claim a degree of power, and like he feels almost godlike in the killing of this, and seeing the killing of like seeing his own death essentially.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of what it's getting at, because like the way that Mia Goth's character, I can't think of her name, but she preys on his ego, and we watch him go from like fragile ego to like blown ego to like full ego death over the course of this film. And so I think that's what they're getting at with his response. That's my interpretation anyway. But I'm sorry, I spoke over you.
No,
Michael, Raven Shadow.
Oh, that's okay.
No, you're so much more smarter. Please keep going.
Talk for me all the time. I think you brought up a good point. It's interesting to it's like a roller coaster like ride of ego, and to see the ups and downs for his character, and kind of what you had said. Is that April, MZ?
Yeah.
Yeah, MZ's showing off his cat.
I love her.
Yeah.
Don't let me near her. I will steal her.
So yeah, it is in a sense like he goes through so many different sort of moments in this, from being almost like I hesitate to use the word emasculated, but like
that's right.
Yeah, in
especially when she gets on the hood of that car.
Right.
Ooh, snip.
Definitely. Yeah. And and even
she lets him have it.
Even with M, with his wife, I feel like he is almost ashamed that she is the breadwinner, I guess, so to speak. And, he is very sort of ripe for the picking for Gabby, who that's Mia Goth. And like she even says something when M goes home, she says something like, women like M try to make you feel, I can't remember what she said, but it was kind of like a profound statement about like him compromising who he is, his masculinity and whatever. And it was that idea of, once again, probably this sort of elite attitude of, you need to maintain your masculinity and your edge and all these things. And she was trying to rob you of that. That's kind of what she was saying to him.
God, which is such a mark.
Too, but speaking of marks, though, I think they saw, for all the stuff we've talked about, it's still a movie about prey. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that you still get the two out-of-towners that come in. Maybe they think their level of affluence is on the same page as maybe some other people, but I don't think they're in the same league. As there's rich and there's wealthy, right? That's the old Chris Rock bit. But like, there was some prey involved.
Yeah.
And it's also, let's not forget the elephant in the room, the FBHJ.
I think. Do you mean the MG, Mia Goth hand job, MGHJ?
I meant the from behind ham job.
Oh, wait, ham job?
The ham job, yeah.
The rear naked chokehold she was given to Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, that was a rear naked choke, all right.
Rear naked chokehold. It was like, hey, that's a little. It's very comforting.
It's comforting. Yeah,
it's
there was
a very specific kind of hug. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that let alone endeared him to this
Jezebel.
I was gonna say co-guest, but I guess that's a different word you could use for it. And she was great. Like X gave it to you in this picture.
X gave it to you.
I'm starting to see why you're so good at this like stream of consciousness IMDb game. It's because you don't actually know their names. You just know that it's all coming together full circle for me right now.
Yeah, that's just him, by the way.
It took this long, Rachel? Really?
I mean, you're the one that said I was smart. I never said I was smart.
But ask him about 80s, 90s sitcoms.
There's a whole channel on our Discord now specifically for my Raven Shadow for that exact purpose. Yeah, Mia Goth is, I will say, the first time I watched it, I missed some of the nuances of what she was doing. And I think when you think about the scene on the beach where she's introduced and then the following scene where she acts out her particular talent for acting, watching that a second time through, knowing where we're going with this sort of performed failure is ultimately about, for an audience, making you feel like you watch her do these things and you're like, oh, they're there. And she weaponizes that in a way that is really interesting because she shows her cards. She opens her hands and shows her cards in that following scene.
Yeah.
And his ego is so inflated by her compliments, he can't even see the red flags.
Right.
She really plays with him right from the very beginning in ways that are, I think, really interesting. And I just love Mia Goth so much. She's so great in that.
And that's kind of what I think it was Raven Shadow, I think you said, kind of like the predator prey, she's definitely playing with her food,
Oh yeah, I mean Mia Goth was fucking fantastic in this picture. I love Dex, I love Pearl, but goddamn, this is dropping the fucking anchor. This lady is fucking an ass kicker. And it's funny, there's even a point where I'm like, she'd be a killer fucking rogue in the new fucking Marvel movies.
I could see that.
Let's keep her.
Magneto, but
let's keep her away.
Yeah, let's keep her away. She doesn't need to do superhero movies.
Yeah,
but she is fucking badass in this picture.
She is just fine where she is right now. I will. Yeah, Mia Goth. Her facial expressions as the shit starts to turn up. Her facial expressions, her voice, the way she opens up her mouth, it just screams insanity. And the best thing is that she's like a ticking time bomb because you never know when she's going to go off. She's got the seeds planted. She's got the seeds planted, and something's going to happen. You just don't know when. And she is just she turns it up to 11 in a real hurry, and she is dynamite. She is dynamite in this role.
Yeah.
I mean, she's troubling. She's menacing. She's seductive. She's all these things in one package.
Yes.
And you never know when it's going to happen. But the only thing is that you know it's going to happen. You just don't know when.
Never go to the second location with Mia Goth. Yeah, I love the dichotomy of like this haunted Victorian doll voice that she has, and then the way that she can turn and be genuinely sinister and menacing. She feels dangerous when she's shooting up that bus. Like she will kill.
Yeah.
She feels dangerous, but then on the other hand, she can swing back to this very like demure, quiet, like I said, haunted Victorian doll, and that's the power of Mia Goth. And we saw it in Pearl, we saw it in X, we're seeing it in an even greater degree, to your point here.
And she's not a physically imposing person. She's very tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know how tall she is, but comparatively speaking to everyone else that she's on the screen with, I gather she's not very big at all.
No.
But her personality just explodes on the screen. It's incredible.
Yeah, she's great. Hard agree.
It's funny. If I'm not mistaken, she has a British accent, right?
No, that's her voice. That's what she sounds like.
It's funny because I actually didn't. I don't think if I knew that, I'd forgotten. But I saw some people like talking about how bad her accent was in like reviews, and I'm like, what, really? I'm like, it sounded pretty good to me. And then now I'm looking at this being like, okay, it wasn't even a fucking accent, like it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, it is kind of embarrassing.
You're just looking for stuff to be like critical of, and you're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
You know what else I like? Is Alexander Skarsgård. I'm just going to jump in. It's just a little, not really a nitpick, but just an observation. I like Alexander Skarsgård, how his hair goes from like Jeff Daniels to Carrie Elwes to full blown Dolph Lundgren.
Wow, that is a trajectory.
I don't know what the hell it means, but I like it.
Yeah.
Do you mean in this movie or just in his roles? Okay.
Yeah,
on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, depending where he's
going. Let me follow that trajectory. Jeff Daniels to Carrie Elwes to Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren.
But is it Carrie Elwes, Princess Bride, or
Saw? Yeah.
I don't know. No, not Princess Bride, because it's a little bit too spiky. So I would say Saw.
Right. Saw. Okay. All right. Saw era. Got it.
Yeah.
Evil Corny has an important question. He says, "Is the MGHJ better than the NKHJ?"
Oh yeah.
So this is.
yeah.
I think Rachel. I'm pretty sure you've seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, right? No, you didn't. Okay. Well, there's a scene in that where Nicole Kidman gives an HJ in a car.
Okay.
So that was the NKHJ.
But
and then
it's an angry.
Yeah, it is very angry. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's an angry NK.
It feels dangerous.
Yeah, just like Mia Goth. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she was a little more tender.
But the Mia Goth was a little bit more like going over your grandma's house.
Going over your grandma's house? What?
No, I mean
a lot of dead-eyed HJs at your grandma's house.
It was more comforting.
Comforting.
Oh.
You should not use going to grandma's house and getting an HJ in the same like analogy.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
I feel like it makes sense, right? Like, what's better than?
It might make sense, but don't think about it. Don't actually think about it.
It was like I'm trying to think of the most comforting thing from my childhood, just go to my grandparents' house, as opposed to an angry hand job in a parking lot because I negotiated a deal. You know what I mean? Where she's like, "I'll fucking do it."
You're not gonna like it, but I'll do it.
Done yet? Fine, thanks. So,
Could you at least use this hand sanitizer I have here? Jeez.
COVID, here's some.
Oh man.
I don't even have the equipment, and that's bumming me out. Like I'm feeling the burn.
Oh shit. I still can't get over Jeff Daniels to carry Elvis to
I
Dolph
know.
Lundgren.
I love it. There has to be someone creative in here. I need like a chart.
You know,
of
we need.
the,
You know, what we need
yeah.
is like the morph technology where you see their heads
Yes.
morph.
Yes. Yes.
Remember that was the shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get somebody to get on that. Jeff Daniels to Carrie Elwes to Dolph Lundgren.
All right, evil corny. We'll chip in. We'll get you some Photoshop.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into sort of like I was after I watched this, I'm like, it would be interesting to ask these guys if they would do this, like if they would participate, like if you guys knew this existed, this resort, and you could basically do anything you wanted, and that was your penance, you know, of like, you know, having a clone created that you have to watch get killed. Like, is that worth it? Would you guys be interested in this?
Well, I'll tell you. Would I have to have committed a crime in order for me to have a clone of myself created first?
Well,
or
yeah.
are we just talking about the death of the clone?
No, I mean, yeah, like in order to have a clone, you have to commit a crime in this world.
I mean, if it was just a matter of me having a clone and forgetting about all that other stuff, but just creating a clone and just killing it of me just to kill it off, would I be interested in that? Yes.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I would.
Yes, I would. I would. I it would be interesting. It wouldn't be entertaining. But
As
it
he
would
wants
sure
to have a
interesting.
menage a trois with himself.
No, I would.
What I want to know is what's the crime that
Yeah,
leads
true.
to the clone.
A spoiler alert against humanity.
Telling bad jokes. I don't know, but would I? I don't know if I would want
sodomy,
to
but
hurt
okay.
somebody. I don't know if I would want to hurt somebody just to have this clone created to see this happen. If it was just a matter of me just watching the clone getting killed off, yes, I'd be all in on that.
Would you
know,
do it?
but if it was just a matter of the clone and not having the actions to go about in which I have to have the clone created, I would do it without the actions of getting that clone created, but just the clone being made to get killed. Yes, I'd be in on that.
I'm interested in the ethics of this. So, like,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm not committing any crimes,
Right.
misdemeanors, or infractions, but
I
like
just wanna kill
murdering my
myself.
double, I jump in.
Yeah.
Like that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
That doesn't that those two things can coexist and
Well,
not feel like
because-
an ethical dilemma. Because do you not
well,
see a clone as being murder? Because I feel like if you could murder the clone, then you could do the murder to get the clone.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Well, wait. Now, this is just the fact of the murder of the clone being murdered, not me murdering the clone.
Right, but if
But
you but what
There
she's
is a difference.
well, what she's saying is if you can murder your own clone, why can't you just murder somebody to
To get the
get
clone.
to get the clone?
Because that's someone else. Think about it.
So you see the clone as an extension of yourself as opposed to like a fully realized individual.
Exactly. Because it
Okay.
has a different face. It has a different, a body frame. A different look, different hair, different body shape, the whole deal. Meanwhile, my clone would be an exact duplicate of me in every way, shape, and form. And
Except
for
maybe
that,
slightly smaller balls.
Sausage Prince.
Sausage,
Well,
Sausage Prince of Maine.
let me tell you something, Wolfie. We can't make them any bigger unless we contact Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh, jeez.
The hippity hop king of Maine.
Get Mr.
Yep.
Guinness on the phone.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Guinness, look at these.
Tell him to bring his calipers.
Yeah.
We have it.
Bring his calipers.
What am I gonna do with these?
What am I gonna do with these? Oh shit.
Well, let's just say that Alexander Skarsgård, he can measure up to what I got. Let's put it that way.
Oh, missed the unrated cut you must have watched.
No.
This is a very evocative conversation.
It's
I'm imagining that there is no seat in that chair you're sitting at this point.
It's one of those.
Just done.
What were those
Your
called
own
when you were a
beanbag,
kid? You used to have those
I
like
got a huge
bouncy.
divot right here.
What
I
did
gotta-
you say, Jim?
Yeah, I can't remember what they were called, but they had those like bouncy balls that used to like like used to
With
like
the
move
handle?
around. Yeah, with the handle. Yeah,
Hippity hop.
hippity hop. There you go. That's what I see.
MC's like, I haven't walked anywhere in years. I just hippity hop around.
Oh, Corny says if MZ cloned himself, they could go get bratwurst together.
Oh. Is
Um,
that code for
it might be.
Picture him like eating like entwined arms, like eating giant like Scooby-Doo like sandwiches or grinders.
Grinders.
See, now this would be a different kind of grinder.
Yes.
Yeah, right. But
Marion brings up.
that would be I would say yes to that.
All right. How about you, Raven Shadow?
So here's the thing. So like I am all about having a night. I'm all about having debauchery. I'm all about getting fucked up. But like I don't want to live in the purge world. Like that's not fun to me. Like I'm okay with vengeance. I'm not saying I wouldn't if there were no consequences, a couple motherfuckers might have to go away, but not on a whim. Not just because I can. Like if we lived in the purge world, I would be in Canada visiting Rock during that week. You know what I mean? Like I would be out of town. So like I don't want to hurt anybody, and I would, and maybe I've read too many comics, too much sci-fi, but I feel like if I clone somebody, I would have the Peter Parker guilt of some shit. I would. You know what I mean? So like, would I like? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want someone to take my beatings. If I'm taking a beating, I'm gonna take my own beating. Right, wrong, or indifferent. If I had some help to get me out, great. But I don't want someone else to suffer for me. So that's yeah.
MZ could have a clone suffer for his art.
That's, If I had an artistic any artistic merit, I might actually go along.
Do?
I've heard some poems.
You're an actor.
Oh, please.
Please? I've seen your movies.
Yeah. You were in a good one that Johnny and I were in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And
we were.
I know we give you a hard time, but Blood Pigs is awesome. That's fucking amazing that you're in that movie, and you look like an action star.
You look good.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, well, thank you.
You look good now. Take your pants off. Show us.
No, I don't. Good now.
Let me catch up in the chat.
Oh, come on now.
Marion brought up interesting point. She said, "Did anyone else wonder if the wife M set James up? How did Mia Goth know? He was a writer. How did they know he was a mark? All that stuff." And then Kat commented just a couple posts down, said she Googled him. M wasn't in on it, but it is. I mean, I feel like M actually had a heart. She had. She wasn't one of these elites. So I didn't think that, but it is an interesting thought to ponder,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like she was pretty disturbed because she comes in at one point. It's like, you've gone wrong around the eyes. And she's kind of disgusted and leaves. Especially because he's holding a second urn at this point. Like, The keeping of the urns is really interesting, and I think feeds back into this weird ego thing that they're like trophies essentially of the things that he's done and that he's gotten away with.
And that small real world thing that I like. When we give you, it's almost like your picture when you go through the water slide at take your picture like.
I killed my clone, and all I got was this crummy T-shirt.
Shitty urn.
This shitty urn.
I ran over a farmer, and all I got was this shitty urn. I got to bring back my fucking luggage. I'll tell you right now, when we went to Italy, I threw shit away in the airport. I'm like, I don't fucking want to give a fuck. I want to go home. Carry on. It's like, no weight, like I was fucking flying away in a hot air balloon. This motherfucker put 3 urns in a fucking. It was that Joe Pesci movie, 3 urns in a duffel bag.
3 urns.
8 heads. 8 heads in a duffel.
3 urns in a duffel bag. Let's see some more chats. Skeletron's hanging out. What's up, Skeletron?
Shit.
And let's see. Skeletron, I just lost it. He says, in non-socially acceptable terms, you're basically asking, why don't you want to kill yourself? Like it's a problem that he wouldn't kill his double. Just had to point that out.
I want to know if Raven Shadow would eat a banana in front of his clone.
He wouldn't. He'd be embarrassed.
Don't look at me.
Don't.
Would the clone eat a banana in front of Raven Shadow?
Well, since it has his memories, probably not.
That's how you know it's the evil clone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You give it the banana test.
It's like the Turing
the nice
test.
clone. Yeah, the nice clone would be all nice and shaved Raven Shadow. Meanwhile, evil, sinister Raven Shadow would have a goatee whipped on him.
That's true. Yeah, be clean shaven. That's how you know.
I love that. Like that's a thing. Like there's the Turing test, and now there's the banana test.
There's the banana test.
Yeah. See if it's a clone.
I kind of feel like if you have sticky banana fingers, you're the evil clone. I feel like the good clone goes for it.
You can have napkins and wet ones to make the stickiness thing.
Wet ones.
Wet ones.
He just called out the fucking brand. Wet ones.
Oh, that feels like it could be a sequel to this movie. The wet ones.
The wet ones, yeah. Oh man. Evil Corny, he said he was referring back to his comment about eating bratwurst together, MZ and his clone. He says they'll eat those bratwurst like Lady and the Tramp. Would you kiss yourself?
I'm so hungry right now. I would do that right now.
That gives would I fuck me a whole new meaning.
Yeah. I guarantee.
Well, you gotta have a little foreplay, I suppose. So.
I feel like you've engaged with yourself on a more aggressive level than that. Like, what's a kiss?
I guess.
You've done some downstairs stuff with yourself. What's a kiss?
Who's been a bad boy? I have.
Hey, who told you? Who told you?
You got that look. I don't know.
Thank you.
Leanna asks, she says, Raven Shadow would only want a clone to see if the truism is correct. If you fuck your clone, are you in fact gay? And Skeletron says yes. Leanna says, good, let's turn everyone gay.
I like Leanna. Leanna knows what's up.
To drive me.
Well, it's funny because Gabby does bring up the 3-way with
yeah, that scene
and his clone.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I assume they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like a little clone 3-way ain't nothing for these people.
Oh,
I mean, we see some of it, so we know.
Well, true, yeah.
You know,
there is a kink going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't talk about the the husband or boyfriend of Pearl X.
Oh God.
Mia Goth.
Jesus.
I want to know, like, it's just gonna be like, how many movies does he know? By the end, it's gonna be Mia, like, Suspiria.
I was gonna say this one, but like, yeah. But like, I like the little French husband, but he's a little bit,
Little French husband.
You make it sound like a poodle she had in her purse.
he was like Antonio Banderas vibe kind of thing with the short hair, but I liked him. Right?
What?
Yep.
It's not like she had Hervé Villachez.
Oh man, we need to clone Hervé Villachez.
First of all, we need to clone Antonio Banderas and fucking Desperado because that dude's motherfucking pretty. I'll tell you that much. Maybe Assassins, but I would say Desperado. But like, I liked the husband. From
okay.
All right, I'm saying,
great.
Good job. Maybe he's listening. I think. I don't feel we talked about him, but I thought he he was good. He was fine. And there was some motherfuckers. There was the other Putin-looking motherfucker. Who was that weird, right? I'm like,
the doctor? Yeah. I know what you're talking about. One of the other zombies. Yeah.
Yeah. Where he's like, oh, we're gonna fuck with you a little bit. And he pulled the gun out, and there's a weird and then I'm like, oh, is that like a weird thing where if they do the clone thing, are they kept prisoner there? Are they kept prisoner in paradise for a little while? Is that the gimmick? All right, just me.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to get on your level. You've ascended to another level, and I'm not there. I'm climbing.
I guess originally once we figured out what happens when you do the clone thing, and the clone gets killed in the fucking gladiator tournament. Which we didn't talk about the child stabbing the fucking clone. Which that was a really easy scene to watch. But
better than the other way around.
That's fair. But when they go back to the resort, it seemed like, oh, are they all you're one of us, gabba gabba hey type thing, oh, you're joining the fucking, we're stuck here, almost like trapped in paradise type thing.
I mean, in terms of they're not supposed to leave the resort, yes, trapped. But I don't think they want to leave. I mean, I think that's kind of the point. Is they don't want to go.
That was an idea I had until we saw the actual ending. But I'm like, oh, because I didn't know what this movie was about. So trying to figure it out during the runtime. What's going on? It was. That's why I couldn't write down any notes. I'm like, I just gotta fucking watch this.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away, but
do it.
When the first time that James goes and commits a crime with everyone, and what happens, that scene was jarring, because I was like, oh shit, they're things are different this time, or oh my god. And then when that ended, the uproarious applause was a shock, because it's oh, okay. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen at first, but then it looked like it was totally legit, And I was like, oh fuck, what's going to happen now? Yeah, that was well done, and really kind of threw me for a bit of a loop there.
Are you talking about the thing that happens back in the hotel, or are you talking about the thing that happens off the base where they take the masks?
Yeah, it's the what happens after they take the mask, that whole scene when they get arrested.
Oh, right, when they're Karening out in the waiting to be taken in. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
because I love that scene.
Yeah.
When they're just you're inconveniencing us, and how dare you?
Yeah.
That whole thing is pretty great. That whole sequence.
And then he's I don't know the guy's name, but the guy who runs the executions. he's like, well, things are going to be different this time or something like that. And I was like, oh shit, like there, no clones, like, but that scene threw me.
Oh, I see what you mean by the applause. Yeah. That whole sequence. I mean, the thing is there are so many new ideas thrown at you and so many turns taken that you in that scene, you're only halfway through the runtime, but I don't have the confidence of knowing where this is going. Anything could happen, and I love that about a Cronenberg film.
Yeah,
because I think that's true. That was true of Possessor, and that did not follow the typical narrative, and also very true of Antiviral. I love we didn't talk about the mask, but just like this visually, this movie is so gorgeous, so beautiful. But the design of the masks is one of my favorite things about it because, like, I love the way that they really do kind of represent the face that is like their true face. When they put on the mask, that is their true face. Like we see the money pouring out of one of the mouths. We see all of the eyes and the disfigured and like the piggish demon face that he wears. All of that like really speaks to who they are inside and also who the locals actually see these tourists as. And it's just I think a smart, subtle thing that also is just like so rewarding visually. When they're in that car, just driving like on their mission, it's just so visually striking.
Yeah, I went to look up something about the masks. I meant to, and I found, I guess, Neon for the promotion of this had people wearing the masks and going around scaring people and filming
Amazing.
it. Yeah,
Nice.
Amazing. It's pretty hilarious.
I really want one of those masks. I really want one. Like, I wish this was an A24 because they sell all the props. Like, I really wish I could get my hand on one of these masks. They're so upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even really think too much about the masks, but in thinking about it and how it's sort of representative of a characteristic of the character, it's it's a really deep film, and this is one that I feel like, I mean, you watched it 3 times. I'm sure you picked up on things every single time you watched it. So,
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I saw this. I can't take credit for this. I read this and I just thought it was really interesting that there's like a psychoanalytic Freudian perspective on this film where they see Gabby representing the id, James as the ego, and Im is the moralistic superego. And it's when she leaves that everything really falls apart.
Yeah, true.
Like, yeah. So like, I don't know. I really kind of, I like, I don't know if it totally fits, but I think it's a really interesting sort of way of looking at these characters and the progression of his arc, especially when Im leaves and there's like no regulation of the ego anymore because this is so, and he's so ego driven. I felt like it kind of fit.
Yeah, no, it totally does. I mean, that's a great way of looking at it too. And, and I like what you said earlier about Cronenberg doesn't necessarily do body horror. He does soul horror. Like it's because yes, there is some body horror elements in this, but it is more just a sort of dissection of, in this case, of ego and, it's just a really interesting way of sort of looking at it. And I'm not going to say it's completely unique or different, but it is very much his own voice. Like we may have seen some things like this before. It might be reminiscent of some of his dad's work, but it is his own unique voice in which he's telling these stories. And it feels very different from any other filmmaker.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I largely agree with you. I think that his exploration of the fragility of the human spirit is and like how easily it can be corrupted, especially if you have like boundaryless power, is not the freshest, newest idea ever. But what I think is interesting is that he always takes it that extra step far where he highlights the way that like social structures either prevent or permit, or in this case, encourage, like enthusiastically encourage that kind of spiritual corruption. He takes that idea that is so usually like navel gazy and in like going deeper into the heart of darkness of the human spirit, but he actually juxtaposes it against these ideas of social structures, and that social commentary is what for me like elevates what he's doing even more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. Checking the chat room, and Kat says no, they can leave. No, they can leave. It's part of their NDA. That's what the cop said.
Oh, okay. Damn, Kat is the scholar of this movie. I've seen
know.
it 3 times. I didn't pick up on that. I appreciate the fact check from the audience.
And Leanna says, "I like you too, Rachel." We've got a little mutual like going on here.
Appreciation Society.
Yeah. And Corny, go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna make a stupid joke. That's fine.
Corny says Wolfie would just use his clone to host podcasts, and he's not wrong.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about the free labor. Suddenly, okay, like what are the crimes? Blasphemy, I can do that. Sodomy, sure, why not? Yeah, I think I can get myself an army of clones, and then I'll just like do my next crime will be like a clone heist where I steal all my
You
clones.
steal them all, yeah.
And then I'll get another clone. Oh my God, I'm a genius. This is the wishing for infinite wishes. I just cracked the case.
You did. You cracked the code. It's the Konami code. All right.
He doesn't like my plan. He gave me the full eye roll.
That's rude, MZ. All right, we should probably
Yeah,
wind this down a little bit, and we do have some voice messages to play as well. So, Leanna quotes and says, "I didn't think about the free labor. You just found the extension of the anti-capitalist critique of the film, Rachel."
That's right, comrade.
Congrats, you're the 1% now. I think you're the 0.00001% now.
Right?
That's funny.
If you have your own clone army, I feel like you have ascended. Yeah. Bernie Sanders would not approve of me.
All right, so let's do our verdicts on this. Well, actually, before we do that, was there anything else you guys wanted to bring up? Anything we didn't talk about?
Let me look
there's
at
so
this
much.
novel. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could talk about this for like hours, but I think MZ would boot me from the show permanently. I mean, I think there's some like xenophobia that's interesting in this, but like we don't have to unpack all that. But I do think that that's something that is definitely touched on in the way that they talk about the people. Always like treat them as though they're hysterical or superstitious, and then the way that they kind of like use this shamanistic drug that is actually like of cultural importance. Like they use it for their orgy. Like, so there's some of that kind of stuff, but I think we don't want to unpack all that at this hour. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot more to this movie. We could do it part 2.
Yeah, no, I think that is a good point though. Is there is sort of an element of co-opting and because they don't care about the people. They just
consume.
Just consume. They care about themselves and getting their next opportunity to do whatever the fuck they want.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy Girl says, "I need a clone of MZ."
For what purpose?
Yeah.
Would that be acceptable? I guess. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll accept that.
You'll accept that. You won't experience it, but you'll accept it.
Swap the clone, bro.
Evil Corny says, "Rachel, you call having a clone army palpitating." Palpatining. Sorry.
Oh, Palpatine.
I misread
it. I'm going to have my own little city of Snokes. I can't wait.
Unlimited.
And infinite clones.
Does it come with Force Lightning? That's pretty fancy.
And Leanna says, "If we want to go canon, MZ shouldn't have clones. He should have 2 more heads attached to his shoulders, gravity beams, and scream, beady, 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 beady.
Shit.
All right, now I think we can go to the verdict. So let's do that.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Infinity Pool was a trick or a treat. And any final thoughts? Let's start with our guest, Rachel. And I think we know. Let's make it official.
Okay, let me see if I can get it right this time because I always say the wrong thing. It is a treat.
Yes.
It is an unadulterated treat. Like, I know some people are going to say, oh, I'm going to caveat it, and just certain people would like it. It's not for the normies. I say, get thicker skin, suck it up. You need to watch this movie. It's fantastic. Full treat. Like Snickers level treat.
All right.
Sugar babies bullshit.
or wet ones.
Or
Ravenshaw's gonna. Ravenshaw, do you use wet ones after you eat an Uncrustable? Get a little jelly on your chin.
Yeah, look at some moist towelette.
A moist
that's
towelette.
fun.
All right, MZ, what's your verdict?
Yeah, this movie is a very in-your-face metaphor of the ultra rich, and it doesn't paint them in a very good light, and that's very good for regular people like us.
regular fucking poor folk who have to beg their listeners to help pay for their podcast.
This is a very intense flick visually, and I'm also going to probably say audibly too, because I'm trying to I'm doing my best to try and remember the score for this movie, and to be honest with you, I really can't. But I'm going to assume that it was good, because if the visuals were this good, then the soundtrack to it's got to be pretty dynamite too. So I'm going to watch this again and see if I can pick up on the soundtrack. If I can remember, Actually, you know what? Now that I'm speaking about it more, I can remember the soundtrack. And yeah, it was pretty intense. A very good soundtrack, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, the visuals are just insane. The camera work is fantastic. It's almost like you'd swear it was kind of like a Gaspar Noé type of film. The way the camera glides, the use of filters, and surrealism used in those filters and things like that. There are times where the way the camera works is almost very sensual. Close up on the lips while they're talking and things like that. And you can see that they're talking very, very softly. So they're speaking very softly, so you can see that, like, the softness of their mouths and everything like that. Give it a little bit of a sensual, seductive feeling to it. Little do we realize that that sensual seductiveness goes right out the window as the movie continues. Mia Goth is absolutely fantastic in this movie. She is terrific. She is just bullseye. She's beautiful. She's erotic. She's completely insane, and I love her for it. You never know when she's going to go off, and when she does, her face changes like 1,000%, and it is frightening. Everyone else is good in this movie too. Alexander Skarsgård was excellent. Everyone was good in this movie. Everyone. I wouldn't change a thing about it, to be perfectly honest with you. This is really the first movie of the year in which I can honestly say that this is a very good movie. It's been a tepid year so far, as far as I'm concerned. But I could honestly say this is the first film that actually made me catch some serious notice. This is a big treat.
Yay!
All right, Michael Raven Channel.
I'm not sure how much more I can add that my co-conspirators haven't already divulged. But I would agree, great cast. Mia Goth definitely had some Christopher Reeve levels of duality in their performance. Taking the fucking glasses off. She's a little bit crazy on the fucking hood of the car. That was a little bit fucking Escape from New York type shit going on. But
good reference. Yes.
Thank you. Fucking Rachel right now. But the cast was killer. The socio-political commentary was killer. The film was killer. The film stock was good. Great hand job.
I ain't even seen the half of it, my friend. Let me tell you.
Sounds like Raven Shadow's first date.
Yeah. I miss kindergarten.
I miss Grandma's house.
I miss Grandma's house. I miss Thanksgiving. Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, Rachel.
No, I love it. I love it.
It's a treat. Where you going, MZ?
He's going to Grandma's house. Nana!
Nana, I'm coming home.
You just watched the kiddie pool. Where you going? I'm going to Grandma's house.
You just watched Infinity Pool. What are you going to do now? I'm going to Grandma's house. Oh, wait. Leanna is quoting Raven Shadow. Soundtrack was killer. Great hand job. Another one for the shit Raven Shadow says Twitter.
Oh my God, is that a Twitter? That should be a Twitter.
It is.
But it's a Twitter.
It is a Twitter account.
Okay, it's called Shit Raven Shadow Says, because I am gonna follow it right now.
Oh, Stu. Gotta get proactive. I gotta call my people.
It's at Raven Shadow Says.
Okay, Raven Shadow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it was updated in last week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, hashtag Trick or Treat Radio 555 was last week, and it says, "When did MZ become a fucking Mormon?" That was your quote. And then there's the GIF. Oh, the GIF of you and I in Septic is now on the Twitter.
Oh, that's sexy, right?
Yeah, look at you guys. Go on.
Badasses.
All right, this is why Twitter was invented. Like, I mean, like I've been feeling pretty bad about the whole Elon Musk of it all, and I'm like, you know what? The greater good is that this exists.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh shit.
He really did go to Grandma's. He's out of here.
He's gonna come back drinking a Gatorade.
Thing is, his grandma's house is in fucking Massachusetts, so he's got a long ride.
I unfortunately think Grandma is in the ground in this case, so I don't know. I don't know if that's.
Listen, I'm not kink shaming. I'm just kink asking why.
Kink asking. I like that.
Did you go to Grandma's house, MZ?
I had to go kill a clone.
That's his new euphemism for rubbing one out.
Or it was like fire a couple of rounds.
Yeah, I gotta go kill a clone. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
it.
if that was the case, I think I killed off several 100 million of them.
Yeah. I had to fucking dry fire my gun. That's pretty
Dry fire? I love that. Wait.
Okay, that sounds like an NKHB. That sounds like to me.
Oh shit. I don't even remember what I was gonna say now. Leanna says, "Listen, when the Force awakens, as the darkness grows, Elon Musk, the light rises." Raven Shadow.
Yeah, there you go. Balance the Force. Raven Shadow. No pressure.
No,
Balance
not at all.
The Force.
All right. I think I'm last. I don't even. I don't even know. Did you give yours, Raven Channel?
Oh yeah, treat.
I'm so
yeah,
okay.
Treat, Bo Beat, Banana Fana Full Feet. I like the movie. It was fucking weird.
Leanna has another quote.
What's up?
I just got a speed ticket. Better kill a clone. Rubbing one out as the cop leaves. Evil Corny says, I got hiccups from laughing at y'all. That's a success.
We love causing bodily distress in our listeners. It's the sincerest form of flattery.
Yes.
Like corn.
All right. Yeah, for me, this, and one thing we talked a lot about the themes and some of the ideas behind the movie, but and we did talk about the look of it a little bit, but I think that we didn't probably talk about it enough. But there's that scene when shit, I'm forgetting the names now. When Gabby, that's Mia Goth's character, and James go to, what was it, like they went to a bar. I can't remember, she said, oh, come with me, I'll explain everything, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to a bar, and like there's like, if I remember correctly, it was like a very like brilliant blue sort of like light, and that whole scene just was just so well shot. And also at the very beginning of the film, I loved this sort of like almost like the inversion of the camera, where it's sort of like tilted on its side and was sort of like going upside down. You know, just nice little sort of framing mechanism to get you into this sort of upside down world, if you will. So yeah, I thought that a lot of the stuff that was the technical camera work and stuff was just exceptional, really well done, incredibly well lit. This film just looks amazing. And I mean, somebody mentioned the kaleidoscoping genitalia earlier, but that scene was one of the
would say that.
that was one of the like coolest shot scenes, regardless of what was going on. Like it was really kind of impressive.
Yeah.
And you know, I just think that he has some super heady ideas, some really in-depth narrative with a really deft, you know, like director's hand. You know, I think we're going to get, I mean, I assume we're going to get a lot of output from Brandon over the years, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does. If this is his third film, you know, it's impressive. It's very impressive. And he wrote it and directed it. So, I mean, not a lot of people can direct their own stuff super well. I know we've talked about this before. I don't want to get too deep into it, but like Rob Zombie, I would love to see him direct someone else's script. You know,
yes.
I just feel like it just would be just a different thing entirely. You know, there's some other directors potentially, but Cronenberg has it. Like he can write, he can direct, and it's all fucking there. So, yeah, this is a treat. It's a really cool movie. It's another one. It's one that I would like to see again for sure. And as you know, Rachel said, she's seen it 3 times and has picked up on stuff every single time. So. Kat says, "Oh, that spinning camera can fuck off."
Come on.
Were you gonna say something, Raven Channel?
I could ask a question. So, if Cronenberg 80, right?
Well, David Cronenberg.
Dad.
Yeah.
So, how old is Baby Cronenberg? Because I feel
he's in his 40s, I believe. He's not really a baby.
Yeah, because I mean, like my dad's 68 and I'm 46. So how old is this motherfucker?
He was born in 80, so he is 43. He was born January 1980, so he's 43.
Well, fuck him. For being young.
He's got 3 years on your Raven Channel.
I'm curious at what point. I mean, like, I think we all largely agree that this is fantastic. I mean, you haven't said Trick or Treat yet. Sorry, I don't mean to get ahead of you.
Oh no, yeah, I was done. It's a treat, definitely a treat.
Okay. I believe you all liked Possessor. I can confirm that Antiviral is also excellent. At what point, like typically when somebody puts out 3 movies back to back to back, like you think of a Jordan Peele, right?
Yep.
That made exceptional films back to back to back. At what point do we stop couching his films within the context of his father?
It's a great point. I don't know, and I think it's because, I mean, just off the top, like his father's still alive, his father's still working, his father's still making movies, and his father is still making bizarre fucking movies like his kids.
Crimes of the Future was shot like in the neighboring country at the same time as Infinity Pool.
Right.
So I mean, but you do bring up a good point. There's a certain point when he is his own person, his own director, and like that's a thing that we shouldn't do when it comes to couples and this is whatever, like Mrs. Cronenberg, it's
right.
It's talking about the person and not their sort of who they identify with, but so I think you're right. I mean, Brandon Cronenberg at this point probably should be his own entity separate from his father, because he's definitely now a successful director and he's shown that he is very good at what he does. So yeah, I think it's a good point.
I mean, it's just something, I mean, I'm guilty of doing it too. I mean, so much of my analysis is based on the fact that the life that he's led, which translates to being his father's son.
Yeah.
But I realize all of the critique, like every article you read about him, like his dad's name comes up, and I'm just like, he's such a skilled filmmaker. At one point, do we just like see him as his own thing? And that's a question. It's not like an indictment. It's a question.
Yeah.
Something I've been thinking about, and I want to know what you guys thought.
But
I hope we didn't feel accusatory, because it definitely was not.
Here's my quick thought on that, and it sucks because you're right. It always cascades down to the sins of the father, lack of a better term, whatever you want to call it.
Success of the father,
yeah. In this case,
of the father. But then you go look at like what was Ted Williams Jr. Didn't really have a great baseball career. So
I don't think there was a Ted Williams Jr.
Who's the one that was head was frozen?
That's Ted Williams.
Ted Williams.
But what was his son though? His son tried to play baseball.
It's not. It's John Henry Williams.
Yeah, didn't really do too good. So you don't always get the same stock as your parent. It's hard, but like if it's it's even down to my favorite band. I'm going to say it again. Sorry, Wolfie. Is Power Man 5000.
Oh, at least it's not Kid Rock. That's all I care about.
It's fuck that fucking cocksucker. But like Rob Zombie's brother. But like they're totally different. I don't know. Like, do you just want to refer to someone that will get you to know who you're talking about? But genetics don't.
Says the guy that called Mia Goth Axe and Pearl and Alexander Skarsgård True Blood.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Those aren't parents. And you're not as confused as I am, Wolfie. What I'm trying to say is like sometimes a nut falls far from the tree. Sometimes,
Is that another euphemism?
Yeah. A lot of fucking nuts.
Sometimes the clone falls close to the tree, is what you're saying.
Well, let's look at it this way. Look at the history of father-son directors that are out there in the world. Kenji Fukusaki to Kenta Fukusaka, and Melvin Van Peebles to Mario Van Peebles, Carl Reiner to Rob Reiner. Have these sons broken off where where their fathers don't need to be mentioned? And the answer is yes. When you see a Rob Reiner film, Carl Reiner is never mentioned because Rob Reiner has established himself. Same thing with Mario Van Peebles and Melvin Van Peebles. These are directors that have established themselves and gotten away from their father. Now, the only difference here is that you got David Cronenberg, who is, I enjoy the films of Carl Reiner, but David Cronenberg, I mean, as far as success and maybe even the quality of his films, I would say more over the success, beats Carl Reiner. And he also has, I think he has a lot more films too. But I don't think that I don't think Baby Cronenberg has anything to worry about. I think he's going to be branching off on his own just fine. As of right now, I would have to say that the success of his films certainly beats out his father at the time when his films came out.
That's true. That is actually an interesting data point.
Not only by fans, but also critical success as well. The money, I mean, you can't really, because of inflation, you can't really gauge it, at least not in a matter of seconds right now. I don't know what they would be right now, but I think Baby Cronenberg's going to be just fine.
As he's arguing
but I mean, we are calling
you called him Baby Cronenberg.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Brandon.
Jeez.
I'm just curious.
It's late.
What was David Cronenberg's third movie?
Look, it's late. Okay, give me a break.
But we say he's like 42. I don't think he should be Baby Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Middle-aged Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Kid Cronenberg.
Kid Cronenberg.
It doesn't quite ring. Grogu Cronenberg. I don't know.
Kid Cronenberg. I boxed Kid Cronenberg back in 1960.
Okay, sorry. I'll stop sidetracking when you guys are trying to wrap up.
All wonderful sidetracks. So I think we're done. So next week we made an executive decision, and because it was being talked about earlier, we're gonna do Cocaine Bear next week.
Oh shit!
Raven Shadow, excited?
Yeah, can Rachel come back on?
Anytime.
Rachel
anytime you want me, I will be here.
So yeah, we'll do Cocaine Bear next week.
Wow. Anytime you want me, I'll be here. How electric grandmother of you.
Let's not talk about nanas anymore, all right? All right, so Cocaine Bear next week. If you guys want to play along at home, you can go ahead and send us your thoughts. And you can do so by sending to podcasts@trickortreatradio.com, or you can go to trickortreatradio.com and click the contact button, and you can leave a voice message right on the website. All right, so let's see. We got a few voice messages. We actually only had one coming into the show, and I think now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So
7?
It's funny how that happens. Like, I never know if we have like one to start. Like, we could have many more. So we're gonna start things off with our buddy Arkham Josh. Let's check in with Arkham Josh and see what's up with him.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Arkham Josh here, calling in with some catch-up movie reviews. So from last week, we had the great double feature Full Metal Yakuza and Project Wolf Hunting. Full Metal Yakuza, it's a treat. It's a recommend. I remember getting a bootleg VHS of this back in the day, before it was available on DVD. Kind of part of the first wave of Miike titles that had become available in that early kind of J-horror boom, when a lot of that stuff first started filtering out through Hong Kong or England, because that was the only way back then we here were able to get copies of some of that stuff that had English subtitles. So I definitely still remember getting that VHS and just being blown away with how absolutely insane that film was. So definitely a treat and a recommend. Project Wolf Hunting, I'm kind of glad it took, I wasn't able to call in last week because, not that I would have disliked the film last week, but I think after initially watching it, I think that there were some aspects of the tonal shift that didn't work for me. Because I feel as though the film was trying to go for one of those From Dusk Till Dawn tone shifts, where it's like, oh, it's this kind of serious crime thing, and then all of a sudden there's this off-the-wall, horror thing. And after my initial viewing, I found it that there were just some aspects of it that got a little too goofy, and that tonal shift didn't work. But over the past week, the more I think about it, it was just a fun film. And, that seems to be less bothersome now, and, just when looking back on the interesting action and gore set pieces and the fun story. So Project Wolf Hunting is just going to be a full-on treat and a recommend. And if for anybody else who watches it, if you have any issues like I did, just kind of let it sit for a couple days, and maybe it just won't bother you as much anymore. All right, so that was last week's. This week, Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool. I caught this about a month and a half ago when it was in theaters. And nice. This film is just fantastic. It is a weird art, horror, quasi-sci-fi take on like class war politics in a way that it really has more levels to it the more you think about it. And it has fantastic performances, some great, camera work and effects work. So Infinity Pool is 100% another treat and a recommend. I'm really interested to listen to the podcast to hear you guys' thoughts on Infinity Pool. And I hope everybody's doing good. And got to talk to you guys soon. And I'll get back in touch more regularly. All right. You guys have a good one. And I don't know. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, Josh. So Josh liked all the last three movies, but especially he loved Infinity Pool.
Sign of good taste.
He is a man of refined taste. Josh is a good dude, and we appreciate him giving us his thoughts. All right, now let's see. I got a voice message from Creepy Girl. It says part 2, but there is no part 1. So I don't know if there's another part to this or if
like a Leonard part 6 situation.
Yeah, exactly.
How's that do cut?
MZ likes that one. You big fan, MZ?
He's a big fan of the mute button.
Yeah. Big fan of the mute button, MZ. We couldn't hear you. Big fan of Leonard part 6?
Sorry, big fan.
So let's hear from Creepy Girl. Hopefully it's a full message and not a part 2 of a part 1 we don't have.
Okay, Creepy Girl here again. I just want one thing I definitely wanted to say about Infinity Pool that I did not say was I felt like the whole movie was so unrealistic, could never happen. I mean, they were kind of felt like they were in like a third world country where, I mean, especially when they say, if you kill someone, a family member gets to kill you. but yet they had the ability to do what they did. And that thing really, I thought was stupid. Like, that didn't make sense. And I just wanted to add that real quick. That's it.
Okay, so it was a part 2. We missed part 1, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We just got that. I'm not sure. I did a search through all my emails, looked through everywhere, and there was no part 1 Creepy Girl, so I apologize. I don't know if it just didn't send or something, but that's I think that's personal opinion on, it's movies don't. I mean, the great thing about art and movies is they don't have to be realistic, but some people may want to view them through a realistic lens, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, this movie obviously couldn't. Well, I mean, actually, we may not be too far away from this happening, but yeah, it's, as of right now, this is not something that is.
Or maybe
happening.
we're just too poor to know.
Yeah, or that's true. Yeah. That's,
maybe this is an expose and we think it's near future sci-fi.
Yeah. He's really taking that whistleblower role into effect there.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's check in with Carlitos, our boy from last week. He was had a Patreon takeover. So let's check in with Carlitos.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio, it's Carlitos! How
Carlitos!
you guys doing?
Good,
guess
man.
who's Rachel? How are you doing?
Better now,
hey guys,
now that I
guess
got
what?
to hear you.
I saw a movie.
Oh.
And that movie is a movie that you guys suggested that I watch. And that movie is The Happiness of the Katakuris.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
And you guys wanted to know what I thought about it after I watched it, and yeah, so here's what I thought about it. This movie's complete bananas.
Banana fingers?
No, just bananas. Yeah, this movie is up there with Houseu in terms of complete wackiness.
Yeah.
From the bat, the film shows you just how weird and bizarre it's going to be with that opening.
Yeah.
With the whole claymation sequence with the white goblin angel ghost
so good
thingy, whatever that thing was, that only seems to return in the movie at the end, I think, and eating that lady's uvula. But I was like, all right, this is gonna be a weird movie, and I like weird, and I definitely got weird. But I think the thing I liked most about the film was the Katakuri themselves. They were just so endearing. At least to me, they were. You know, they weren't obnoxious. They didn't have any obnoxious members of the family. They were all likable. And I really wanted them to succeed by the end of the movie. And, of course, their musical numbers were great. Just really likable. I like the part at the end where, I guess without giving too much away, they thought a family member was dying, and they went to a whole song number and with some melodrama, kind of playing that scene out, and then they find out he wasn't really dying, and he just sort of gets up and be like, yeah, let's continue. So that part was funny. In fact, the comedy here was really good. It wasn't broad, like some Asian films can be, but this one isn't. I thought Miike wasn't overreaching in terms of comedy. He did a really good job here. If I had any criticisms, I would say I kind of did wish they went into more on why the guests were dying at the guest house. I kind of thought this was, and it could be my expectations, hearing the movie, seeing the advertisements and all that, but I thought some more supernatural elements on why they were dropping like flies kind of played into that. It never got into that towards the end of the film. Or the stuff happening around them. I don't know. It just, I think, as I think about it now, didn't really have a cohesive narrative. It seemed more like a bunch of skits stringed together where the family was the focus. But the good news is the family is great, and because they're the title characters, and if you didn't like them, this probably wouldn't be really that good of a movie. But still, this is a treat for me, and I quite enjoyed it, and I'm glad I watched it.
Awesome.
Also, I'll say this is probably the least Miike feeling Miike film that I've probably seen, especially when you consider the films surrounding it, like Ichi the Killer, Is There Q, Gozu, God, what else? Well, of course, Full Metal Yakuza, because this one is, the vibe on it is much brighter, much happier.
Yep.
Less grim, less gritty, less sleazy. But yeah, treat. I did not see Infinity Pool, so I have no comments on that movie. So, yeah. Anyway, happy to see Rachel on the show. She brings extra fun to the already fun show. But not as fun as me, right, guys? Guys? I'll just see myself out. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, you set that up nice. We love you, Carlitos, and you know, there's no comparison. There's no point in comparing. We love everybody. So, but I'm glad you watched Happiness of the Katakouris, and I'm glad you liked it for the most part. I haven't seen it in years, but I would like to see it again soon. It's I forgot that on the poster it says The Sound of Music meets Dawn of the Dead. Perfectly encapsulates it. Have you seen Happiness of the Katakouris, Rachel?
I have not, and I know I need to. My Takashi Miike is like it's a void. I've seen very few of his films.
Yeah.
Unrelated though, just off the top of my head. Do you mind calling me Rachelitos from now on? Not that I'm trying to move in on anybody's territory or anything. Just an idea. I don't know.
All right. Well, you know, yeah. Raven Chow, want to try it out?
Rachelitos.
Rolls off the tongue. I like it.
Rachelitos.
All right, so let's continue on, and now we're going to hear from Evil Corny. Let's see what he's up to.
Buddy.
Hey guys, saw Infinity Pool a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it this week because I had a lot of stuff going on. But I'm giving that film a treat. It is a wild ride. To me, everything is about how people with privilege can take advantage of systems and stuff and do a lot of depraved things and pretty much get away with it and, you know, go back to their lives after all this stuff is done. All their sins and stuff are done. But like I said, I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what Brandon Cronenberg does next. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite directors. I guess you all, I didn't see it, but I guess you all like covered Possessor a couple years ago. And I really enjoyed that film too. Well, you all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
I was waiting for something at the end. He usually has a little shout out or something.
Go fuck myself.
All right, Corny. Well, it's always awesome to hear from you. So appreciate you calling in, and glad you dug it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's see. This one came in earlier in the week, Raven Shadow. You're gonna be happy about this because it comes from across the pond.
Stop it.
The Crown Prince of Wales. We're gonna hear from Linus. Let's check in with Linus.
Wolfie! Raven Shadow! MZ! Aries!
How's it going? This is Linus. I've called in not to talk about Infinity Pool, but to shamelessly plug this week's episode of Death by DVD, which should be out on Saturday, I think. where we talk about Infinity Pool and crimes of the
Nice.
future and have a sort of Cronenberg versus Cronenberg theoretical death match. And we're joined by EF Contentment. Yeah, so check it out. It's a hoot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed Infinity Pool, and I look forward to what you got to say about it. Cheers.
All right. Well, there you go, Linus. I want to check that out. EF and Linus talking about Cronenberg versus Cronenberg. That should be a show, right, Raven Shadow?
Well, yeah. My only thing I'm pissed off about was like, yo, you could have called me, bro.
You hadn't seen the movie yet.
But I have now. Like, we gotta coordinate schedules and shit. But like, I want to hang out with EF and Linus.
That's tough. That's a tough time zone difference there.
Yeah, time zones are stupid.
Yeah.
Well, as right now, Raven Shadow is only 4-hour difference.
Oh, I guess that's right. You're on the East Coast, so it's not that bad. Here it's
Although,
we had one of. Mm-hmm.
Although
What time-
EF is on the West Coast, so that would make it interesting having all those different time zones.
But that's where Rachel lives. So what time is it on your clock, Rachel?
8:36.
Oh, that's so early.
MZ's like, I wish it was 8:36 here. I'm falling asleep.
I'm so tired.
All right, MZ is fading. So let's get through these. We have 2 more.
24
more. Let's check in with First Time Mike.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. Hope everything is well with everybody. First off, I'd like to say, Carlitos, I really enjoyed your Patreon takeover. I never heard of these movies, so I'm going to check them out when I get a chance down the road, as always. And when you're around, it only means one other thing, a mention of banana fingers. But yes, last week my voicemail, I noticed that it got cut off. It's new technology. I was using a new app on one of my tablets, and I had right now I got a new iPad, so I was working with my old stuff now, so it shouldn't cut off again because I'm used to this program. But that's what happened. And what got cut off is that I realized that this month it's been 7 years since I started listening to you jabronis. And I made some comical clip about, well, because I was here this long, I might as well see how this keeps on going and like verbally rolling my eyes. But it was actually just another way of saying that it's been fun hanging with you guys 7 years. I'm going to keep on doing it as long as I can. And just wanted to jump in on the full moon discussion about Dollman that you guys had after my voicemail too.
Yep.
I think that they were able to use Dollman because it's all one word in the on the packaging, and it's probably enough of a concept where they could say, well, yeah, we'll change the name, but we're not copying the comic book character that DC is using. Also, if I remember right, it was supposed to be a more super heroic or fun movie, and then Albert Pion got involved in it, and he used his usual work with a more cyberpunkish, gritty city, but that kind of blended well, and it has Tim Thomerson, who I adore, and I always enjoy his performances. And but there's Dollman. I say check it out. It's a fun little movie. If you see also Dollman versus Demonic Toys, that's not so great. I watch that only if you're a Full Moon, a Tim Thomerson, or a Tracy Scoggins completist.
I am
all I got for
three of those
today.
things.
Saying hi to everybody on the show tonight. As always, this is First Time Mike saying, First Time Mike drop out. Boom. Bye.
Oh, first of all, 7 years. That's fucking crazy. First time, Mike.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been awesome having you be a part of things and being a friend. So we appreciate that, First Time Mike, and it's always great hearing from you. And he's throwing out some Dollman science, Raven Shadow. What do you think?
I have so much to unpack here. I know Monster Zero's falling asleep, but I love so much. Just come over, bro. But like he mentioned Dull Man, Demonic Toys. I've not seen that, but I had no idea that Tracy Scoggins was in that, and I am a huge Tracy Scoggins mark. She played the first live-action Cat Grant in the Lois and Clark TV show, and that's super nerdy. But she's really attractive. I liked her when I was a child. So I'm like, a teenager, not a child. It wasn't like I was 6. I was probably like 17.
Wait, were you at Nana's?
I was at Nana's house. Yeah. Nana was a huge Benny Hill and Tracy Scoggins market.
Oh, man. MZ would have been into your Nana then.
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking terrible.
Benny Hill fan. How can I turn that down?
Yeah, I don't want Monster Zero in my name.
We're going to take her to Benihana.
Yeah. Benny Nana.
All right. We got 2 more. 2 more because Creepy Girl sent in part 1. I don't know if it just came in or if she resent it. But let's do that one first, and then we have one more after that.
Ugh. I can't believe my part 1 didn't go through.
Oh, okay. Didn't.
So I'm going to send this now. Maybe you'll do it next week. Maybe it'll come through tonight. But basically, I did not like Infinity Pool. I wanted to like it. I'm a big Cronenberg fan, big Mia Goth fan, big Eric Northman, Skarsgård fan. And I wanted to love the film, but I did not love it. Mia Goth was annoying to me in the whole film, especially the bus scene. I couldn't stand it.
The best.
And when I say something's not realistic, I mean, I watch horror movies. Come on. I know monsters aren't real and all that stuff, but there has to be an amount of believability that this could happen. That's what makes it scary, when you believe something could happen, you know? But unless it's just a fun, crazy horror flick. But this is something that's supposed to be so deep and subliminal and you know, about the richer people and how they get away with murder. But it just was too bizarre, too many weird things happening, and it felt like they were trying to be like an international over the borderlines film, like, you know, like where they're trying to cross borders and be extreme just to be extreme. And I don't know. I personally did not like the movie at all. And I really wanted to. And I really hated Mia Goth in it. I think she was horrible in it. She was amazing in X and Pearl, but she was horrible in this. And the fact that she was the leader of the group, she just has a juvenile look, and they made her like she was such an adult, but it didn't feel like that. I don't know, I'm going all over the place because I'm just trying to quick get this in, but I really did not like the film. Strong dislike.
Oh, wow.
But that's just me.
It's always such a bummer when you're
Love
like
you guys.
super excited for a movie.
Oh, that was it. That was it.
It's always such a bummer when you're really excited for something and then it just kind of is like a bum. That's what I was afraid was going to happen when I sat down to watch this because my expectations were so high. So that sucks, Creepy Girl. Sorry you had that experience.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I can definitely see that this not working for everybody for sure. It's.
Definitely.
There's a lot to it. It's deep. There, you know, you have to be in the right frame of mind, I think, when you see it. So, yeah, I get it. But,
yeah.
But thanks for calling in and giving us that part 1, since for whatever reason that didn't send. And by the way, Liana says that Rachel would be Racolita. I don't know if I can roll my R's well enough there.
I love it.
Racolita. Go ahead and do it, Ravenchild, like you do Carlitos.
Racolita.
All right. Speaking of which, we're gonna close out the voicemail with Leanna. So let's check in with Leanna and see what's up with her.
Hi guys, it's Liana. You can probably tell from my voice that I'm not 100%. Yesterday, I woke up with a cough and a sore throat, and I thought, okay, this is probably just a head cold, you know? And I'll probably get back to normal at least in a couple of days, maybe by tomorrow, and I can just go to work and move on with my life. Unfortunately, it was not so when I woke up today, worse. And I was given 2 different at-home COVID tests, 2 different brands, just to make sure that if I get a negative or a positive result, it wouldn't be like a false negative or positive because of a faulty brand or something. And both of them came back positive. So this is my first time with COVID. I have an appointment for a doctor tomorrow to get another COVID test, like a more functional COVID test than the at-home. And hopefully we'll see what we can do for treatment then. It's been very mild for COVID so far. Like I said, it's just been like the symptoms of a head cold, headache, runny eyes, runny stuffed nose, sore throat, head pain, like a headache. Unfortunately, I did not get to see Infinity Pool. I haven't really seen any of Brandon Cronenberg's stuff, to be honest. Mostly because I hear his movies are very, very depressing. And with recent current events, I am not in the mood for depressing. I get enough bleak like on Twitter, like I am good, my guy. I get it though. The rich are indeed a different breed of animal, and they sure are bastards. Trust me, man. We've got many examples. We don't need a movie about it. Like, with that lesson, I don't think, unless it's like kind of twisting it another direction. Maybe this movie is. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. But yeah, that's the life update right now. I did see Scream 6. Scream 6 was very, very fun. I love the newer Scream movies, actually. It's actually kind of surprising. Scream has been like the most consistent slasher series I've ever seen. Like, even when it's bad, it's not like the bottom of the barrel or even really that boring. It's still kind of interesting and tries to do something new, even with its own established formula. So I'm really excited to see where Scream 7 goes. I'm such a shill for that franchise, and I probably always will be. Pray for me, guys.
Well, if there's anyone who is well equipped to give advice on dealing with COVID, it would be MZ.
He's a 4-time champion.
No, 3-time champion. 3-time COVID champion.
Hat trick. Yes.
3 times.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for Liana?
If I had any tips for Liana, believe me, I'd be using them myself.
Just the tip?
Yep, just the tip.
Well,
just it sucks. I feel your pain, though, Liana. Believe me, 3 times over, I feel it.
Yeah, I had it once last year. Raven Shadow, you've avoided it, right? Still?
Yes. So far, my Italian biological makeup is by Earth's Yellow Sun, so I haven't got it yet. Yeah.
And how about you, Rachel?
I mean, the Irish version of whatever he just said. I have also not gotten COVID yet.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah.
Liana says, good. God, don't jinx him on a 4th Raven Shadow. I don't know if he could. I don't know. Yeah, I don't wish that on MZ. He doesn't need it for a 4th fucking time.
Yeah, no, fuck MZ. I just want to talk about Liana right now. Thank you so much for hanging out with us lately. And you know what? You want something fun? Check out Community. Maybe on the Netflix, that sitcom. I enjoyed that. And maybe some Smallville. Make you happy.
Make you happy.
That's fine.
Me happy.
Or
should we all recommend like something fun for them to watch right now? I mean, because I don't know that there's a worse thing you could watch with like a COVID fever than a Brandon Cronenberg film, especially antiviral. Ooh. I would say if you have Shudder, Extraordinary. Nobody ever talks about that movie. It is pure TV. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
serotonin. It's
We-
so good.
I think Liana would probably like that. We did that one on the show years ago. Is pretty. That's the one with Will. Not Will. What's his name?
No, not Will Arnett.
That's what I almost said. Oh my God! What the fuck? Yeah, he's hilarious though.
Will Forte. Will Forte.
Will Forte. Yes.
There we go.
Yep.
Yep. I just rewatched that the other day. That's why I thought of it.
Yeah, that was fun. And I remember wasn't he in a band or something like that? Like,
yeah, he's like a one-hit wonder.
One-hit wonder, yeah.
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 Like Cosmic Girl or something.
Yeah, Cosmic Girl. Yeah. That's good. Let's see. Well, recommendation. You know what? Honestly, I don't know, Liana, if you have Apple TV Plus, but Ted Lasso just started, 3rd season. I haven't seen it yet. I was a little hesitant because I don't really care about soccer/football. And I just was like, you know what? Like, I keep hearing good things, but I don't really care about it. Let me give it a shot. It is one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it is one of the most positive shows as well. So I think if you're feeling down, I think Ted Lasso is probably a great thing to check out if you haven't already.
Mm-hmm. Seconded. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like nice people being nice to each other.
I know. It's crazy, right? And like
sometimes you just need that. Like it can't always be all infinity pool all the time. Like sometimes you have to think there has to be some hope for humanity.
Liana says no Apple TV. I haven't seen Ted Lasso, though I pirated Prehistoric Planet. That was fun.
That's fine.
Well, anything else? And then we'll wrap it up.
Psycho Gorman. That'll make you happy.
Oh, Ravenshaw, do you like Hunky Boys?
Not my hunky boys.
Boys.
Or do I? Well, Liana has Shudder, so I believe it's still on Shudder. So Psycho Gorman, fucking awesome.
and Extraordinary.
And
Bam.
Yeah, boom, done.
That's a killer double feat.
Yeah, it is. All right. Liana says, I love Psycho Gorman. Okay, great. So.
Single feat.
Yeah, single feat. You know what? Actually, one that could be a good with Extraordinary. Let me just make sure I remember the name of the movie correctly. Alice Lowe. Fuck, what was it?
Revenge.
Revenge. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yep. I don't know why that seems like it might be a good with Extraordinary.
It's that Britishy humor.
Yeah.
You could triple feature with Housebound, which is from New Zealand, but has that same sensibility.
Oh yeah. We did Housebound.
You did Housebound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it as much.
I liked that one.
But I think that one might be so Extraordinary and Prevenge. It could be a good double feature.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say goodbye because MZ's going to turn into a pumpkin. But before we all say goodbye, we want to thank Rachel for spending time with us once again and for making us appear smarter, look better, like bring up the real estate on the show. And it's always awesome having you on. And it's funny. We do it and we're like, we should do this more often. And then like we'll go like 2 months and we're like, we got to get Rachel on.
Aw. I love coming on it. Thank you for inviting me on such a good episode too. This was such a good like meaty one to dig into, and I'm always like it always means a lot to me when you guys invite me because I love coming on and I love you guys so much. So
shucks.
So thanks for the invite. Anytime.
It's mutual, and we'll definitely again. And I think I don't know when Arbor Day is or whatever. We talked about doing another like team up, like at some weird holiday. So maybe we'll have to revisit that or something and see what we can do with that. But all right, and we're gonna go. Oh, and before we go around and say goodbye, Rachel, please plug whatever you want. Tell folks where they can find your shows.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can find everything. Just look up Zombie Girls. That's GRRLZ.com on whatever podcatcher it is that you use. We're on all of them. And if you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, our handle is at ZG Podcasts. That's podcasts plural with an S at the end. You can slide into the DMs there. We hope you come check us out. You can see you can see all of my co-hosts. Come for the me and stay for the them.
And all right, well, let's go around and say goodbye, starting with MZ.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much for showing up. I'm already going through withdrawals. Arrivederci, douchebags.
A great way to follow it up. Michael Ravenshadow.
I was supposed to say biggest for everyone for turning out tonight. Great voicemails, great chat room content. Thank you to everybody. And I say definitely 100% big ups to Rachel. She is the princess of podcasting. Her show Empire knocks those fucking Ottoman motherfuckers out the box. She rolls with a kick-ass crew. And you got to check out their stuff. So, big up Zombie Girls, big up Rachel. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, live fast, love hard, survive.
Do people know what big ups means these days?
I don't know. You can try. You can try to like figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like
context. People.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily know what a Herald of Galactus was, what invulnerability meant, but I kind of figured it out. You know what I mean?
All right, well, that's gonna do it. All right, so we appreciate you guys tuning in for episode 556. And as always, awesome having Rachel on. And next week, we're going to be talking about Cocaine Bear. So if you guys want to check it out, feel free to send your thoughts in. We'd love to hear from you guys. And that's going to do it. So go check out Zombie Girls Podcast and come back next week and hang out with us live. All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye, everybody. See you at Grandma's house.